subject to submitting imagery of the shingles showing that Hiller's Lane is weather tight. We would consider this particular matter closed. And again, it can always be reopened as the circumstances warrant. Okay?
No, yeah, I guess my only question would be, if minimum requirement, is that just weather tight, or what is the definition of minimum?
That would be up to probably a judge. It's not defined in the statute. It does indicate a parameters, the parameters being to prevent deterioration. I don't want to comment on it until I actually look at the statute. It's not something we're terribly familiar with. I read it when we jumped into this. I don't want to assign a definition other than what's inferred from the actual text. I think that's probably the fairest way to handle it. Okay? All right. So I don't think that we need an official vote on that, but I don't think it hurts to indicate by voice vote that we consider the matter closed, subject to, again, submission of images of the shingles applied along the Hiller's Lane side to make the that area that's exposed weather tight. Ray, did you want to make a motion? Oh, you're recused. I'm sorry.
I think a motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and do that? Val, are you comfortable with that motion?
Sure.
Okay. And Connie, you're here. Are you okay with being activated?
I am. I can go.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, Connie is. That's right. Ray was not. See, I knew I'd do something wrong in the first 20 minutes. So it's myself, Abby, Angus, Val, and Connie. All in favor of Val's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed. I just have a few more questions.
Okay. Abby opposed. Okay. Nantucket Health Department, emergency action needed regarding 16 Chiefs Pond Road. NHL data indicates this structure was built in 1982. It's non-contributing. This is a matter not anticipated by the chair within 48 hours. We'll put it on the agenda and vote to ratify the decision. And Holly, we're looking for a move on this or a demo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I understood a
So
move.
as of yesterday, staff received a letter from the Chief Environmental Health Officer for the town of Nantucket, Mr. John Hedden, regarding this property where there's severe erosion and the danger of the house's proximity to the coastal bank, and that the inspection has therefore found it be an imminent imminent danger of collapsing and creating an environmental emergency. So I believe, based on the information I've received, this is a request for this property to be basically either demolished or removed. It sounds like that the property has been fallen into, I guess the bank has acquired it, and the bank is wanting to protect its asset, if you will. So I would assume, from based on what I've seen, that they're wanting to make sure that the property can be relocated. So
Okay.
from the
Yeah,
state.
thank you. From what I'd read, and I was trying to actually get an update, and it looks like Sarah might have some
I have a
information.
little information if you want it.
Yeah, I understood it was a move to one side of the property, but Sarah, can you jump in?
I think from the lender's point of view, they'd like to be able to pick it up and relocate it onto an adjacent lot as far away from this
Okay,
advancing erosion as they can.
okay.
But if they can't do that, then they would have to demolish it. They don't want to do that. That would be the homeowner's thing to do, but they don't want it to end up on the beach is the major
Okay.
issue at the moment. So I think what they'd like to do is pick it up and try to move it, but they're going to need ZBA and a bunch of other things. So at the moment, it would go up on cribbing, and then, so it doesn't fall over, because
Gotcha.
the bank is under the deck at this point.
Oh,
I think.
it is.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
this
bad.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
So I would suggest that, given the information we have, we could discuss, vote on a move demo. If indeed a demo is required, whether noticing is required is a subject of the zoning bylaw and not something we address anyways. So on the topic of a move demo, regular board, are there any concerns?
No,
No.
none.
Is there-
Motion to approve as submitted and as needed.
Okay. So we have a motion for a move demo and by Val, all in favor say aye.
Can I just
Yeah,
ask a logistical question? Was an actual, was it applied for?
No,
So we're actually approving an application that doesn't exist.
right. So what we're approving is emergency action based
Okay.
upon the anticipation of an application being submitted that we will ratify at our next meeting.
Okay,
Yes.
very good.
That's my motion.
Okay. Is that, says,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
fine.
no, I appreciate you want to understand it. So we'll go to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And now I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes. On the agenda?
Yeah,
Okay.
with keeping houses from getting demolished in mind. Patrick is here for something that's at the end of the agenda, which didn't get put in a timely fashion, and it has to move this week or be demolished.
Okay, let me back up and get some more information. Where on the agenda, what are we talking about?
Very last
24
one.
Skyline, the very last on page 5. And it was already approved as a move off from where, Patrick?
Right, so what I'm looking for is.
Greg Lane.
20 Greg Lane.
Yeah.
If you move off from 20 Greg Lane,
That was approved.
move on to 44 Skyline.
Well, okay, so we're talking about new business at 12/3/24 Clay Street, Development 44 Skyline Drive, move on.
Right.
And my only concern is I believe we received several letters on this
Oh, we did?
street address, and I don't want to move it up to, I mean, we could move it up till next week, but I don't want to, I wouldn't be comfortable moving it up without the abutters to the property at 44 Skyline having an opportunity to be aware of the meeting. That would be, I think, unfair and inconsistent with past practice. So if you wanted a motion to move it up, due to the emergency nature of the structure being relocated, we would, you could make a motion to move it up to our 12/17 meeting. And that
Not next week?
isn't next
That's
week,
next week.
the 17th?
Already.
Ah,
I won't be here.
It would have been 2 unforced errors in a half an hour for me. At 3, I get to go home.
Mr.
Because
Chair,
4 would be a foul.
we do have an abutter with their hand raised.
Okay, do we know, can you tell? Art. Good evening, Art. I don't know if you heard the discussion, but the topic is whether to advance this to next week.
Whatever you would like, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to have an opportunity to speak whenever you do hear it.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm not sure, I am aware that Art wrote letter, but I'm not sure if there's anyone else, so I don't think it would be fair without a period for people to gather themselves, either for or against. So, Val, is your motion to move this to that matter to the head of the agenda for 12/17?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, be, after a regular commission or. Is that
That's the
your,
best we can do, Patrick.
is that your motion?
Yes, that's my motion.
Okay, regular board, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I think what would help, this is my own 2 cents, is it's a very vague site plan. It's something that was just drawn on there randomly, from what I saw.
I guess it wasn't before developed.
Guys, I don't want to get into.
Okay, I'm just telling him.
Yeah, no, I understand, but we didn't open it and we got a bunch of other stuff to deal with. So we're gonna move on to consents. Let's see.
I'm out.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
just ahead of this, you'll see that there is 2 sets of consents and 2 sets of consent with conditions. That's to separate the 12-3 and the 12-10 agendas. As you remember, we had the 12-3 already on the agenda, but we couldn't move it up from last week. So just so you're aware of that.
okay. So, Holly, my understanding is that in addition to separating these, part of the reason of separating them is the 12-10 will be placed on the 12/17 agenda, or no? So we can go ahead and vote
No,
on
you can go
these?
ahead and vote on these.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
great. Nice.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I
right.
think you have two recusals, at least as far as I can tell, off of 12-3 consent. That would be Val and myself.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too. But I can't read minds. Are there any other recusals? Okay, so it would be Abby, Angus, myself, Connie. Joe's not with us? Abby, Angus, myself, and Connie for the consents of 12/3/24, numbers 1 through 34, 35 is a blank. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consents as listed in the 12/3/24 with the exception of number 5 and 8, 17 Pilgrim Road, new dwelling, and 77 Easton Street, new dwelling.
5 and 6?
5 and
5 and
8.
8.
Oh, okay, 17 Pilgrim and 77 Easton, okay. On the motion, on Angus's motion, all in
A
favor?
question. So for 77 Easton, so I'm here to
Hold
represent.
hold on.
Before you made your motion.
We're gonna vote, Ethan, we're gonna vote on these, and then we're gonna pick that one up when we start regular business,
Okay.
since it was on the agenda and it's anticipated. All in favor of Angus's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously. So just for folks here and at home eating popcorn, 17 Pilgrim Road, new dwelling, and 77 Easton Street, new dwelling will be heard, discussed later in the meeting after we get through consents. All right, so if we can just allow me to please work through this quickly, I will do so. Consents 12/10/24, recusals are
Me.
Val
Not me.
and Ray.
No,
Not Ray?
I'm on.
Okay.
Sorry, I
Are
don't
there-
need to recuse.
Any other recusals?
And Carrie.
And Carrie, who's, I'm not gonna call on in any of that with her affirmative. So the board is gonna be Abby, Angus, myself, Connie, and Ray. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Move to approve consent with conditions of
Consents?
12-10.
Consents of 12.
Oh, sorry, consent of 12-10, sorry. Yeah.
On Ray's motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries unanimously. Consent with conditions 12/3/24, recusals.
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
you have received quite a few letters in opposition to number 11, 2 Dukes Road for the tennis court. So I would requesting if that can be reviewed on its own merits.
Okay, I'm gonna, in keeping with our prior discussions, I'm gonna put that to Angus, who was the person who put it on consent. Angus, are you okay with that?
I'm fine with that. I mean, there are other situations that have been similar to this that we've approved, and that's why I thought that it was all right to put onto the consent with conditions, but I'm fine with it being removed.
Okay, so, let's see, recusals on this one, did I already ask?
So we are removing 11 so that it can be discussed, correct? Because I do need, when it's being discussed, I do need to recuse from that. But if it's off, then I don't. need
Okay,
to
so you
recuse.
need to recuse from this vote because it will affect removing it.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Or depending on how I word it. So is there any other recusals?
Me.
Val?
Always Val.
Okay, so Val on which ones? Just,
2 and 3
okay, yeah, so not worth, okay,
And 10.
10.
oh,
okay, good enough.
and 5.
And 5.
Abby, Angus, Connie, myself, and Ray, if I have a motion to approve consents with conditions 12/3/24 with the exception of number 11.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So number 11 will pick up. All right. Consents with conditions 12/10/24. Any recusals?
Me.
Val? Boy, you are conflicted.
Ray. No, I know
I'm
what's
te-
acceptable.
I'm teasing you.
And Ray.
Oh, am I off this one? I haven't got, Oh, yeah, sorry, last one, yep.
So it's Abby, Angus, Connie, and myself. Actually, let me double check it. Oh, yeah, I've got nothing on there. No neighbor, no nothing like that. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Can you name it?
Oh, yes. Motion to approve consents with conditions 12-10-24, no exceptions.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Now we are going to pick up the three items on consent that were pulled in order. The first is 17 Pilgrim Road, new dwelling. I don't anticipate Sophie is here. She may not be on. If she's not, I think it's appropriate to shoot her an email while we're here. And we'll move on to number 8, 77 Easton, new dwelling.
I'm sorry, tell me where 17 was on.
Consent 12-3, number 5. And then we're looking at consent 12-3, number 8. No.
No,
Consent.
2 Pilgrims, Sophie.
Go to the second page.
And we're jumping, Mr. Chair, to 77 Easton now, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Let's see, Ethan's here.
Oh, Sophie is on.
Sophie's here.
Sophie first?
We're gonna hold. Yep. Take them in the order they are. Thank you, Ethan. Sophie, good evening.
I had this one.
That was quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Thank you,
ask.
Sophie, for paying attention.
Sophie, we see you. Can you hear us? We can't hear you.
I put it on consent.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now, great. Hey, Sophie, I'll buy you a couple extra seconds. This was on consent and it was pulled for review. And if you'd like to present, do you want to screen share or would you like to kindly direct staff from your end?
I think directing staff would be great.
Okay, why don't you go ahead when you see it up?
Okay.
Makes a big difference.
May I begin?
Please.
Hi, okay, so this is 17 Pilgrim. It was a large lot, an old house that was removed and it's been split in half. So what we're proposing is 2660 on the ground. Overall height of the highest ridge is 28 feet 7. Wood roof, cottage corners, white trim. I tried to do a pretty classic additive massing, and then there's a small connector to a garage that comes out toward the street. Any questions that you have, or why, what it was about it that caused you guys to pull it off? I'm happy to answer or help with.
Sure. What we're going to do is a two-step process on that. One, Val had put it on consent, deeming it consentable. Val, do you want to comment?
Yeah, I just felt like it met all of our criteria. It had great additive massing, it's not overly fenestrated, and I thought it was consentable.
Okay, thank you. Angus, I believe you had motioned to pull this one?
I did. I agree with everything Val just said, the massing, the amount of glazing, everything's in order except for the siting or the location of the garage in front of the house. It's not uncommon on Pilgrim Road, but it's a suburban look that isn't within the guidelines. And it's, it's not completely, I mean, there are other examples of this, but hardly any on Pilgrim Road. And I feel like the more we approve these, the more we'll get of them. So that's why I pulled it.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, other concerns or comments?
I just have, just one comment.
Yeah.
That there is one on the corner of Pilgrim and Cliff where there is an attached garage in front of the house on Cliff. And every time I pass by it, I wonder how it got passed. So that's where I would be on this application.
Okay, thank you. And can we go to the site plan just for the? This will be the regular board. So Abby, Angus, Ray, Val, and myself.
Okay.
And any other comments?
I have one.
Val?
Knowing this neighborhood extremely well from my youth, which was a million years ago, it's funny because all the houses that used to be out there were long ranches, and the garage was like attached to the house, and you drove right smack into it. And it sometimes wasn't even a separate massing, it was just one long mass. So I still maintain, I think this is appropriate. From the road, it looks like an additive mass.
Okay. Is it safe to suggest that that was pre-1975, the structures you're talking about?
I can't qualify that.
Okay. The significance being some of them may have been contributing. Okay.
Stephen, if
Yeah.
you could speak, the reason I hadn't thought it was a push is because we've done 4 houses on the street and all of them had the garage in front, and you guys had never voiced a concern on the other 4, so I hadn't thought it was a bad strategy.
Okay, thanks.
Those have been all approved in the last 5 years.
Yes, and actually that was going to be my comment is I understand Angus's concern. I think that one kind of marrying Val's and Angus's concern, Val's comment and Angus's concern. The history is that there are garages visible, at least even with the house. This is forward, but I think the structure, the nature of the structure itself is, I think it's kind of a charming little garage. It's not a 1.5 story. Can we go to the elevations, please? Yeah, it's not a large 1.5 story structure that we see the profile of here. So given the context, I'm personally okay with it. Any other comments, and then we need to make a motion.
Okay, I can make a quick comment.
Ray.
So the fact that, well, I think Val's correct with the ranch house with the garage doors, it was integral to the house, is indeed a type out here. I'm not sure it's necessarily something you would want to emulate, but this is different than that for a few reasons. One, you're not looking directly at the garage doors, you're looking at the side of the garage, which is sort of this wing that comes out. I think it's a good idea to have the vehicular circulation kind of confined to the front of the lot rather than to trail it around to the back in the form of a long drive. And something else I wanted to say. I think the intent of that garage in the front of the house, there is a house and a garage on Pulpus Road that I've mentioned more than once at these meetings, where the garage is a separate structure that literally obscures the front door of the house. And I find that highly objectionable. Here, the garage actually serves to create more of a courtyard where it doesn't detract at all, and I believe it would enhance the focus on the front door. So with all that said, I'm in favor of this application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, can we please have a motion one way or the other?
I'd move to approve as submitted.
Okay. Regular board, voice vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so the record reflect, 1 in favor, 1 opposed, Angus.
Were you for or against on that, Abby?
I am, I'm okay with it because, but I won't tell you why.
Okay, I was just curious.
You know, you're an elected official of this.
I know,
You
I
don't need to
just-
explain yourself to anyone. Jam like John McLaughlin.
No, wait, what, did he just say, I'm a duly elected?
Duly elected, sorry. Okay, thank you. We are on to 77 Easton.
Thank you.
Thanks, Soph.
Yeah, thank you for being quick.
Good evening.
Hello.
We'll anticipate your typical brevity.
I didn't draw this. It's a new house.
Okay.
It's not a house, it's a hotel.
Gotcha. Do you want to go ahead and walk us through it once you see the site plan?
Yeah, so basically there's an existing building there that was moved there after 2001 from, I believe it came from the White Elephant area. Anyways, they want to move it off, and in place of it, they want to put a two-story new building based on the exact footprint, because if they have Concom approval, they have planning board approval and zoning board and all the other boards. It's just this one's next, and they're hoping to do like a prefabricated type building that's running the design of it. But that's the footprint of the existing building, and the new building's in the same footprint. So that's what the design is.
And Ethan, those blue things are pools?
Those are the pools. This is a Nantucket hotel.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, let's see.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, hold on one sec, Colleen. So I want to go through, Val had put this on consent. Val, do you want to comment?
Sure. Given the context, and I had figured out by looking at the applications about the footprint, they're not changing the footprint, they're just putting a new structure there. I thought it was contextual, considering what's around it, across the street, next door to it. So I didn't have a concern with it,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to let the commission know that I have met with the applicant and the Nantucket Hotel reps on this proposed application. And what you're seeing before you is a lot better than what was originally submitted as a idea. So I have no concerns. I think this is a great infill and is appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
Real quick, if you scroll up, there's a elevation picture showing context of the street.
You gotta let them know that.
Yeah, I'm letting them know that. Keep going. Keep going. The last one. No, all the way to the bottom. Yeah, there you go.
In the red?
Yep.
Okay. Can we zoom in a little bit, please? Take it up 3 clicks.
Or you can go to the first page and it's got the front elevation.
That's fine. We're here. Okay. Gee. Okay. Angus, you called this?
Yeah, so pretty much between Brant Point Light and North Water Street, there isn't a representation of this structure, but there's certainly plenty on North Water Street and as you go up Chester Street and Center Street. So even though it's not well represented, along this street, I believe that it's appropriate. And I appreciate the massing, the whole 5-bay design. There's the only thing that stands out for me is the distance between the second floor windows and the first floor windows. And there might actually just be a drafting area. If you go to the page that has the south elevation and the west elevation, not sure which page that is. That one. Yeah, if you can get as close as you can with still showing both. That. So the window, the windows here, it seems like there's more space here than usual, and it looks like these windows might be at about 7.5 feet. Interestingly enough, these are lower than those. And I would imagine all these would be the same height. This head is about in line with the molding that's there. But then, I don't know if you could zoom in anymore. But it might just be a drafting error, but these need to, I would recommend that these come down and close any space between the head casing and the soffit or the fascia. But in the elevation below, this molding there is where the head of the windows is. So it's like that needs to come down to maybe the eave. And it's a relatively shallow pitch. It's an 8 pitch for the roof. So if that came down with the window, that might work better.
Okay, thank you. Ethan, do you know, is this a modular?
Yes.
Okay, so that would explain that space.
Yeah, and I didn't draw these, just so you know.
Okay. And I just have another question before we get started. Can you zoom in on the second floor top plate here?
Here, if you want to see it close.
1910. Okay, thank you. Comments, regular board? You first. Go ahead.
So it's a bit of an anomaly when you have the Grand Hotel, and then on the other side, you've got those little bitty buildings, and then suddenly you have this very formalized, you've got the shutters, you got the Greek Revival, pilasters on the sides. I think if it were pared down a little bit and not so formal, it might fit in a little bit better, next to those very simple buildings on the right, and then the gigantic hotel. That's my only beef with this.
Okay, thank you. Can we go back to the front elevation?
And I think
Yeah, that one. Okay, so Abby wants to take the tie off and loosen up a button on that. Understand. Anyone else?
Me.
Ray?
So Angus raised a very good point. I think that the drawings need to be corrected. And the interesting thing is I'm looking at the floor sandwich thing and I'm not really seeing, at least from the side view, modular construction. I mean, that looks like a 1 foot sandwich to me, in which case the sills of those windows are extraordinarily high. So I think the drawings do need to be corrected. And I also agree with the point that was made about sort of its level of formality with respect to the context, because that rake trim is probably more elaborate than on the hotel itself, and certainly more elaborate than a lot of the stuff that's in the neighborhood. So I'd like to see it, Abby said something about loosening the tie and unbuttoning the shirt sort of thing.
Unbutton the.
Yeah, I'd like to just, have it get a little bit quieter and a little bit more Brant Point. Thank you. Oh, the other thing is, I wonder if Mickey and company have anything to say about this?
Real quick, a lot of the details came directly from the hotel, the trim and all that stuff to this. And
okay.
if we scaled it down, it looked really naked and boxy. That's what and plus the original 24 is 24 Wall Street, which was the original owner's building that is on the main hotel. It's the Quaker building to the left. It's all white. That was the original owner's house that was replicated. The original building was moved to 24 Wall Street. This is trying to recreate a larger version of that 3-bay, I guess is what it was.
Thank you, Ethan. Val?
I
Anything
maintain my stance on it.
Okay. Ethan, I'd like to see the windows on the west side the same as the windows on the south side, which is to say the taller windows.
Sure.
And I think to the extent those windows can come down, if there is you are pretty high relative to your second floor finished floor, which would mean the height of the structure could come down, the top plate on the second floor a little bit, as opposed to simply lowering the windows, which I would be totally against. And then for me, I think, somewhat, it's not overly dramatic, but it could be helpful, is to trade out your clapboard for shingle
Okay.
and tone down a little bit. I know it's a simple friendship stare, but maybe get rid of the friendship aspect of it.
One-sided?
Yeah, not the intent and the sentiment, but just get rid of one side.
One side.
And give or take on the shutters depending on the color for me.
Yeah, what is the color?
Also, the gutters aligning with the corner boards, I know they're dressed up, but the offset downspouts, I should say, the downspouts aligning with the corner boards, the offset downspouts give this another level of sophistication that one is unwarranted and two is atypical.
Yeah, that's taken from a bunch of houses on India Street that have the
Yeah,
offset
just,
downspouts.
it's a little too much.
Yep.
So I think we're at the point where we want to motion for revisions.
I'll make that
Abby?
motion.
Okay. All in favor of Abby's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, now we are on to our next item, consent with conditions 12-324 that was pulled, 2 Dukes Road Tennis Court.
I got to recuse.
I do too.
Ray and Val are recused.
Yes, I worked on the neighbor's house who's,
And, so that will leave us with, Joe's not here with us still. Abby, Angus County, and myself. Mirka, you're okay with a 4-person board? Somebody can mull in it if they need to?
Is this 2 Dukes?
Yep.
And I can,
Yeah, you can have somebody mull in. It basically, you would ask staff to request mull in and then everyone would mull in. Yeah, because Carrie's online, but depending on whether she's able to weigh in at the next time, so.
got it.
Carrie is the alternate, but Joe would be.
I'm sorry, can you add if you want this first meeting?
I'm sorry?
Can you still mull in if you miss the first meeting?
Yeah,
Carrie's there, okay.
yeah. No,
So she's my favorite.
Guys, can we please have a little bit of decorum? Carrie is currently here. If you were to turn around revisions next week, she may not be able to
Understood.
sit.
Understood.
So. the
Steven?
best course of-
Stephen,
Carrie, could you please, I would just like to finish for 1 minute.
yeah, I just wanted to let you know I'm listening, but I can't see the drawings well enough to review tonight.
Okay, well, thank you for that. We'll get to that in just a minute. So,
I would like to share, but I would like to share my screen if possible, but I'm not able to join yet.
Jesus.
If that's, might be easier, just
Does
wanna,
somebody want to chair in this application?
no, please. We are ready, I'm ready.
Okay. I'm not ready for you to be ready. I need to finish my comment
Oh, person.
so that we don't have a problem going forward, which is why the chair is sitting here, to facilitate the meeting. I would suggest to you that you request through staff that Joe Mullen in. In the
Understood,
event that Carrie cannot sit because she can't see it here tonight, or she can't see it on her own next week, and you bring it back, then it will be covered and addressed, okay? Now that we got the procedure out of the way, did you want to comment here?
my apology for interrupting you
No, it's
earlier.
okay, I just would like to,
Yeah,
I just,
understood, thank you
know.
for,
a leader without followers is just out for a walk, so I guess I'm out for a walk.
I know, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so Carrie, we understand you can't see the screen, but it's being televised, so if you can't see it, then you too would mull in if you were interested and able by viewing the video or viewing the plans prior to the next hearing, okay?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Holly, I still cannot share, I guess, because you guys are sharing, it won't let me to share. My apologies.
Okay, so Mirka, would you like to share?
I would like to
your-
share if that's
So why
okay.
don't you do that? We're going to give you 3 minutes.
I should be ready to go the minute I can join.
No, we're going to give you 3 minutes for your presentation.
Understood. I'm sorry, I'm very bad listening.
Sharon, I can't get you off. Sorry. Thank you. Now you can.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
so it should kick in shortly. Perfect. There you are. So, perfect. So this application, it's located on Two Dukes. You might be familiar when I was in front of you for the hardscape. Now we are here in front of you for the tennis court, which is located right along the front the property. Why strategically it's felt good place because natural grade really dips down, which I will be illustrating in the cross section. Therefore, I'm utilizing the grade difference and grading to disguise the court as much as possible. So I will just go right to the next page, which is, I will just actually go right to the cross section, which might be the most telling. As you can see, we have a Duke Road and this level, and the natural grade, this is the red line here, it's really dipping. So I maximize, we sunken the tennis, I can sunken it 6 feet to really allow to fully encapsulate it with the 4 feet of the wire fence on top with natural grading, which already we know the Duke Road naturally slopes up. So if I just quickly switch to this screen, and I will try to put you guys out of there, we can just nicely modify this grade and really just make natural berm. The pre-existing vegetation, I know we have this construction opening right now here, and we have a new driveway cut in here. This is all pre-existing vegetation, which will remain. In addition, I have another 30 feet to fully enhance. There was a lots of plants which were dead or the property was not taken care of over time. So practically as we started the construction, I clear up all the invasive stuff, all the shrubs, and we will be fully implementing the additional screening of the tennis court. So with native plants, all examples of it is on the last page, again, using the native, some cedars, American hollies, hawthorns, viburnum bayberries, winterberries. Again, the combination of evergreen and native deciduous shrubs to fully screen the 4 feet of wire fence. Just when to go to the material, I will just quickly confirm. It will be PT wall with the cedar cladding. The example is here. I've done it on the multiple other projects. It's a very quiet, seamless look. Also, the wood absorbs some sound as well. So I did feel that that's a better material for it. No lights. I know there is the letters from the abutters. One of the concern is lighting. No lights. We are applying for no lights. The drainage, all this area, it's going to have its own drain, which will be designed together with the main drainage for the rest of the property. So again, the drainage will be addressed within the installation. It is going to be the lowest place on the property, so practically the water would need to be collected from this tennis court, otherwise it has nowhere to go. My apologies for this. I think another concern where screening, I showed you the natural screening, and I think there's some ecological, I really don't know how to address ecological concerns because it is, we have a few tennis courts in a neighborhood. There is a one on the other side of the Vessel Street, and I know I just got approved one in a 3 Maxi Pond View, which was the similar, even closer to this road. So I do not find it inappropriate, necessary. I do understand Duke is the natural setting, and we do want to reinforce the natural setting of this tennis court before we screen.
Okay.
I think that's where I will leave it.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Angus, you had put this on consent. You previously stated, no, did you? Who pulled this?
Angus, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Angus put it on consent with conditions. However, we received abutters.
Thank you for the reminder.
Yes, and one of the abutters is here in the queue.
Okay. So, abutter, please identify yourself by name. Please be cognizant and observant of the fact that we are reviewing architectural elements and not any matters of sound or ecological concern or things along those lines. It's simply not our purview. If we were to entertain that discussion, for instance, on appeal, it would be detrimental to the determination we made. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lisette Stanshoff. I am the homeowner at 4 Dukes. Can you hear me?
Yes, please project a little bit more.
Okay, let me see if I'm getting a little closer. Can you hear me now?
That's better, thank you. I'm sorry,
Okay.
what was your first name again?
My name is Lisette Stanshoff.
Lisette.
I'm the homeowner at 4 Dukes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I submitted a letter after just having conversations with the contractor next door when we learned of the proposed tennis court and its location. And most of my comments do relate to concerns about noise, possibly lighting, and obviously screening from the road. So I'm not sure what further comments I can provide for your consideration if you're not going to be considering noise.
Lisette, so I would just comment back to you and you can take it from there. The town has a lighting bylaw in effect, as applicable, that would come into play. The town has a sound bylaw, again, as applicable, that would come into play. If you wanted to speak to the sufficiency of screening, that would be appropriate.
So it would be something that they would just have to abide by, and what's the enforcement mechanism on lighting and noise?
That's controlled and delineated within the town bylaw. I mean, I'm aware of it, but to go through with you this tonight over the mic wouldn't be appropriate.
Can the architect speak about drainage? She mentioned that having it sunk at the natural grade of the court would allow for the capture of water there. That is a very high hill. It was originally the Daisy Hill Farm, which encompassed 2, 4, 6, and 8, if not 10, as the original farm. And there is while the road does slide up, the land actually slides down, meaning the property at 8 is significantly lower by possibly 3 feet from what sits at the hill at 2.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just don't want you to, you've obviously put research and concern into this. It's just drainage and water runoff is not architectural element. It's not something that's in the purview of the HDC under the Establishing Act. So that would not be something that would be taken up at this commission.
Okay, and what's the recourse for that conversation? Just a conversation with the owners that
That's a
don't
good
wanna-
question. That's a good question. Under the commercial building code, it's controlled by the commercial building code. Under residential building code, it's not. And I wouldn't be able to give you direction to any particular aspect of the town code, at least that I'm aware of. But my understanding from the applicant's agent and the reason they volunteered it is maybe they understand there's a concern and they're stating on the record that despite the fact the HDC doesn't control this matter, they're stating on the record that they're willing to mitigate it. Is that correct?
And that's correct. That's responsible of owner.
I want to leave it at that because again, it's not something we can
Thank
get
you.
into. Lisette, did you want to speak to screening?
Well, those would have been other neighbors. There are neighbors that have an address on Nantucket that are more concerned. They were the ones that directly would be impacted by the court being where the old driveway was, where the mailboxes are. So I'm not sure. I believe they wrote, so Holly probably has a response from them.
Okay. Thank you.
Has the committee reviewed those letters?
Yep. I'm gonna take that matter up next.
Okay.
Any other
I have
comments?
nothing further. I would encourage the landscape architect that is present to reach out to us. If there's going to be some mitigation, I think it would be useful to have those conversations if their agent can reach out.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, and just so you're aware, the landscape architect is shaking her head and nodding yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there anyone who didn't read the letters in reference to Two Dokes Road that were supplied by Holly? Okay. All right, so we have Abby, Angus, Connie, and myself. Carrie's online, and Joe will, I presume, mull it in also in the event he's needed. Who would like to begin?
I'm happy to begin since.
Angus, please.
Since it was on my list.
Yep.
So with the 4-foot fence that's nearly invisible, painted green with just a mesh that's really see-through, is shown in the photos. And then the screening section that shows the planting between the road and the nearly invisible 4-foot fence. The only thing that, the reason this is on conditions is just to maintain that this remains out of view, but I felt that it was consentable, so that's why I put it on the list.
Okay, thank you, Angus. Abby, any concerns?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot my iPad. It's coming over soon, but first I would like to do a view because you know, poor old streetscape. I think we're going to be leaning on streetscape for this, and I know the area, but I can't think of one tennis court that is in that area, and this close proximity to homes on either side. It may not be the best place for a tennis court, and a tennis court, you don't, you know, so now, not that this is in our purview, but it could also be a pickleball court because people are turning, you know, so we also have to think, you know, just the impact on a neighborhood this will have. So I would prefer to have a view before I give my vote.
Okay, thank you. So, I mean, I just want to clarify, that's my role, that we are not determining the quality of life issues related to pickleball or tennis courts.
That's why I'm relying on streets.
Yes, so street trade, a view is relevant. To me, it's relevant because I don't see the pickleball, the tennis court, the whatever it is, in the on the digital packet. There's a fence, so I can't even pull it up to look at it. And since it was on consent, I didn't preview it. So that's not on you, it's just, it's not something I can pull up and look at on the tablet.
And
Well, since Abby's asked for a view, and which I think is fair, and frankly, I think it could be beneficial for everyone, I'm gonna move to a view, and would you include to pick this up at the second of the beginning of next week after, what was the one we did? 44 Skyline?
Yes,
Okay, so on Abby's motion, all in favor say aye.
aye.
Okay. And that'll give a chance to get a digital version to everyone posted, and we can go from there.
and may have a,
It is online.
I'm not seeing it on the only Two Dukes is a fence. I also don't see 16 Deer Run, 5 Luff, any of the consent with conditions.
I think, Mr. Chair, because these were originally under the 12-3 agenda, so that's why, if you go to the view pack for 12-3, you will see it.
Okay. Okay, so that addresses that, but I think the view is still relevant, and we've motioned, we're gonna go to the view.
and just to understand for next week,
For
Tuesday.
next week, beginning of the meeting, and for the abutters who are online, Lisette, we will be picking this up again next week on Tuesday, shortly after 4 p.m.
And maybe could we have Joe included for the view?
That's going to be up to you guys to work out with staff.
Thank you.
Connie, can you sit on the next couple of ones in place of Abby? Yeah, okay, sure. Okay, folks, look at that. We're on to new business at 10:29. It's 10 after 5. And our dinner's on the way.
How do you know that?
I get a text. It says, your dinner's on the way. I don't know who it's from, but I don't argue. Let's see, Val, you're up.
It's me?
Renew Town Court.
Yes.
You want to do it from here, or?
No.
I'm teasing.
Just get me.
But I can tell you that my biggest enemy is the German, and I just wanted to go like,
Mine too.
Okay.
I'm half German.
Cremine. It's
bad.
I want to go back and get the family estate. Val?
Hi. This
evening.
is an application for my nephew Alex Woodley that he drew himself. Probably last year, a plan was approved for a main house on this site. He's built his garage apartment, and now this is the main house. But he had some reservations about how he had planned it, and now he proposed some changes to that to make it a more simple structure, more functionable for him. So I am here to represent that.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, who would like to begin?
Boy, I can begin. This site is, we all know where Newtown Road is, and this is tucked off on a little tiny cul-de-sac behind another house that actually fronts Newtown and what appears to be a garage, so.
And next to his favorite aunt.
What's that?
And next to his favorite
Oh,
aunt.
there you go.
Which is now public knowledge.
No, I don't find this to be any different really than a lot of the things we approve in that area. That's all I have to say, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I do just want to point out the front east-facing driveway elevation, as you probably picked up from looking at the left-south, that is not a addition with a shed roof. It's a covered porch.
Correct.
Okay, anyone else? Concerns?
No concerns.
I would just suggest, Val,
Yeah.
which I think we should suggest to everyone at the planning board too, when it comes up, is if he were to put a street tree in there when he was the young man that he is now, on the right front as you come in the driveway, boy, he'd be thrilled in another 20 years.
I'm sure he'd be happy to do that.
Other than that, and even with that, I have no concerns.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve is submitted.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Carries. So for the
Thank you.
record, that's Angus, myself, Ray, and Connie. And that will be our board plus Vale for the next one, which is 1 Hedgebury Lane. In addition. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Mark Catone representing the applicant.
All right, when you see it up there, go ahead.
This is some minor addition and some fenestration changes to what was, I believe, the small residence cottage of the Chase farm, when this was all one property at one time. This building's been, dates to, I think, late 20s, with alterations in the early 30s. And it has since been, I think, renovated a few times. So materials proposed are consistent with what's in there now. I think all the windows were replaced with Andersons at some point. This is a modest addition off the back to accommodate another bathroom for the building. And then there's an existing screen porch, which is the larger circle of mass in the site plan, which currently has screen panels, which will be replaced with window units so they can make it more of a more usable three-season space for them. I think that's everything. If we want to flip through the additional pages, you can see what I'm describing for the addition, yeah. So I don't think we have, on the bottom right elevation, you can see the unit says proposed for the screened-in porch. And then That's the rear elevation. We have that small wart with an outdoor shower to the left in that elevation. And then the gabled mass is just an infill of existing openings with window units.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any concerns with this?
No.
Angus?
The only thing is, that I'd suggest is that the scale of the windows that are proposed make the addition or that porch look larger than it is. And the only thing that I'd suggest is to do something maybe with 3 light wide windows and maybe coming up higher, closer to the eave with the windows to make it feel more like a filled-in screen porch. Other than that, it seems well proportioned and everything else seems fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other concerns? Okay.
No, but I like Angus's suggestion of maybe making it look more like the screen porch that's there by having some of the windows divided wider.
Can we just go back to that elevation so I can?
Instead of they all are the same together, there's 2.
Can I make a simple suggestion
Yeah.
that I think
Make the simple suggestion.
is just the screen panels would be replaced, not literally, but conceptually with double hung, and you'd keep the structural posts conceptually as structural mulls.
Correct.
And it translates to a filled-in porch.
Yeah, I think our intent was to try and maintain the existing opening, which I think is what you're saying, Angus, as well. So I understand.
Do we want to do an Exhibit A? This seems very simple to me. Anyone?
No, just if you,
Oh, sure,
well,
right.
just by way of clarification here. So right now they're casements and you're suggesting double hungs?
Yeah, so here, you basically, the concept would be these become double hungs as opposed to these.
You're all right with that, Mark?
That'd be fine, sure.
Okay, fine. And then like a 6/6?
Yeah.
No?
More like a 4/4, they're so narrow.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, I don't want
Yeah,
to, you know,
maybe.
get too deep into the woods on this, but the little divider in the screen porch is much thinner than the mullion that Mark is showing. That would make them wider if you narrowed up the mull. Ganged them, in other words.
Mark, casement for a particular reason?
I think it was just ease of operation,
Sliders?
either. I think they're comfortable with,
I mean, if these were large, you know, I don't know, like 9 light sliders, is that?
that'd be fine too. Yep. Simpler looking, really.
Yeah, and then it gives on that, it lends the concept of filled in over time type
Sure.
of thing, a little different.
Yep.
Do you want to you want to hold for minor revisions, or you want an exhibit with some
Exhibit would be
options?
great, just to move this along if we could.
Is there anyone uncomfortable with an Exhibit A that indicates at the election of the applicant's agent that these would be 4-light double hung or multi-light sliders?
Sorry, parsing this really thin here.
No,
If it's a 4/4 with these apertures, the panes are going to be horizontal.
Right.
So it's either a 6/6 or a 2/2 or a slider, and then they'll be vertical.
I apologize, 2/2 is what I meant to say.
2/2?
Yeah, 4/4.
Well, that would work,
Yeah.
yes.
4/4, 6/6, or multi-pane sliders.
Okay.
Does anyone have a concern with that?
2/2.
2/2. Did I say
6/6.
4/4?
You said 4/4.
I got 2
2/2,
strikes in that one
6/6.
sentence.
I
so-
think they look fine the way they are. We just need them to have some wider divisions to make it look like separate.
Mark,
I'll do the Exhibit A.
Okay,
So that's the motion.
that's my motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Oh,
could you add one thing to the motion? The application, while this is an existing structure, doesn't have the date of construction on the COA. We could add that to it.
I'm going to add that to my motion,
Mr. Chair.
to add date of construction.
The date of construction, yeah, I mean,
Initial construction.
Minor.
original construction, according to this historic survey, it states, they say sometime before 1920, modified in the 30s.
Okay. So
According
let's
to-
just add that to the application.
Sure.
Be
Right.
Part of the motion.
Yep.
part of the exhibit. We can all move on. All in favor of Ray's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let me see where we are.
You're at new business of 111291 Main.
Well, it says dinner's here.
Oh,
So I think maybe we should take a break
okay.
for 11 minutes.
Oh, Steve's here for,
5:09, yeah, it must be. Okay, let's do that. Boy, I really wanted us to be 4 over 4. Despite how horrible they would look. I don't even need to open it, where this is from. I'm just wondering if it's champagne truffles.
Thank you, Matt.
I'm sure it's delicious, whatever it is. I'll open it and pass it along.
You're so good sending Christmas cards. I haven't sent them in years.
Nor have I.
Florentine, product of Italy.
How was it?
18 pieces of soft, healthy nougat.
Chocolate in there?
It doesn't say healthy. It's like, but in Prague, the vodka ads
I just sent you a text.
say healthy. We're not back from break yet. Oh, look at this. This is awesome.
Okay, now we'll go through to you.
Oh, I love this stuff. This is my favorite stuff. Almond.
Guys got some chocolates. I got a new accessory. Steve, we appreciate you.
Good evening.
Having some patience with us this evening as we head into the holidays.
No problem.
Why don't you kindly direct staff through your application?
Well, this is just a real simple one. I mean, this is the information that you had asked for when you granted us the conditional exploratory approval. So before you, we have all the information that you are looking to find when we opened up the building.
Your pad.
All of the rot, all the powder post beetle damage, and photographs, numerous photographs of what's the existing building looks like in its current condition. It is open, it is tarped. We have halted the work until this approval is discussed. Terminex is scheduled to appear this week or later this week on site to spray the building. They no longer tent the building, just so everybody knows. They spray by hand with a garden sprayer, a compound that takes care of the powder post beetles. That's more effective, they said, than tenting and fumigating the entire building. Once the fumigation is done, repair work will begin on the exterior. We have some interior work that we're going to be starting as well in the attic with some rot. But basically, everything that you see before you is what you requested for us to move on to the next phase of the project. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to comment on this because I had it, and then I'm going to go to Holly. I had this to review for consents. One, I felt like it was obviously important enough subject that the board would want to, the commission would want to review it. Two, I had some questions, Steve, that we'll get into once we open up, which relates to whether we're doing conventional, making repairs with conventional materials, or you're going to be more along the lines of a restoration with timbers that are of similar sizes. Do you want to address that at this point?
Sure. If you're talking about sill replacement and that kind of thing, sill replacement will be of like size, but will be pressure treated, of course, to secure the longevity of the building. We don't have the ability to source the old material in a timely fashion in order to make this renovation, or I wouldn't call it a restoration, but a renovation to repair the rot before summer gets here.
Okay, and then are you using timbers for, to supplement and sister joists and rafters and such, or are you going to be using conventional materials?
On the exterior of the building, the studs will be conventional. In the attic, which is closed up, it's basically restructuring with conventional material alongside the old mortise and tenon rafters that are then bolted through with through bolts in order to secure them, because there's only 4 of them up in there's only 4 main rafters in the house.
Okay.
We are also, just to continue a little further, a little more information, we are using compounds on the exterior of the old end up in the fascia, where the timbers are cantilevered out to create the frame. We're using wood compound and filler, and not removing them or cutting them off.
Okay. And then most importantly, the question is, I mean, essentially, this is going to be a like-kind application for replacement of the exterior cladding? Okay. Okay, Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the record, this is the Samuel Bunker House, originally circa 1740. And then it had additions in 1823 for Henry Swift and Mary Coffin. It's a typical Nantucket with Greek revival elements, and it was documented by Habs back in the 1930s. And it's one of the first remodeled main streets on Nantucket back in that time frame. As Steve mentioned, they're before you as requested with the September approval for the exploratory demo of wrought work. I think the photos are extensive, and so is the wrought, unfortunately, along with that the powder post beetles. I didn't realize that they changed the methodology of how they treat them. I think all of this, as mentioned, is a like kind. I think what's important as to when it's finished with the Greek revival finishes for the Swifts, that it looks exactly as it was. And any historic fabric not compromised of the either wrought or powder post beetles should be retained at all, necessity, knowing that this type of work is something that Nantucketers, I think, have having to do for many years. And at the end of the day, that this structure, which is contributing towards the local National Historic District, is retained. So I don't have any concerns, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Mickey, does your group have anything?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. So this is Mickey Rowland, representing the Historic Structures Advisory Group. And that is myself and Jason Finger, Mary Bergman, Marcia Fader, Sandy Kendall, and Diane Coombs. So our only comment really on this is that, and this may be out of the purview of the HDC, is just the materials and methods of restoration or reconstruction. I think many people would like to see these timbers replaced with, wood of the same species that they're finding is existing. It's a very old building. To replace it with pressure treated lumber is a little bit, it's just a different approach, I guess. They're proposing to use Simpson hangers instead of perhaps traditional timber framing methods. So that may be outside your purview, but those are our comments. Thank you.
Thanks, Mickey. Who'd like to begin? Regular board?
I can.
Ray.
So I agree with what Mickey just said, but I also agree with the outside of purview. As far as I know, the HCC is concerned with the exterior features of the building, not the structure per se, even though that's obviously in very dire condition based on the photos. So I would view this as a like-kind replacement, assuming that the proper documentation is done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone like to add to that, or would you like to say, I agree?
I agree.
I would say I agree too. Also, Stephen did work on my house, my 1790 house back in, before 2010, so I can say that he does a good job.
Well,
Mr. Chairman, if I could just add one more thing.
Yeah.
We take this particular house and, it's a very historic house. Right, currently, the clapboard that's on the front of the house, we only removed what was rotted. more than half of the clapboard on the upper section of the house, which was original, still exists today. And it's not our intent just to remove something for the sake of replacing it, but in order to remove something for the rot, so it doesn't spread any further. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the information, as I'm sure anyone who drives by wondering what's going on will too. So I mean, it would be unusual, but I guess we could take a motion to approve repairs subject to completion of adequate completion of a like-kind application.
Oh, Stephen, before you, can I just comment? Oh, I just wanted to second what the Historic Structures Advisory Group had recommended and the concerns that you had brought up about the like-kind framing members. To Ray's point, I don't know how much of that is within our purview, but as far as a 280-year-old structure, it's I could only recommend that it would be like-kind material as close as possible, species, dimension, workmanship, so forth, so that it's similar materials grow and age better together than different materials. And so in the respect of just similar materials helping to preserve the structure, that would be my recommendation.
Thank you. Yeah, so not unfortunately part of our purview, but I just want to add on it since we're talking, is at the very least, to the extent any of the elements being replaced are visible from the interior upon completion. I've been in a number of homes where repairs are being made, and I mean, to preserve the historic structure to the extent you can, or to restore it with like-kind materials is, I think, helpful, not only in the sense of preservation, but you know, it's financially the bottom line. You go into one of these old historic structures, you see conventional floor framing in it. It's kind of jarring. It doesn't, the wrapper and the contents don't align, and I think it affects bottom lines actually. So not our purview. Obviously, you get the message, and I think we've got a motion, or we will have a motion to approve this as a the repairs subject to an adequate like-kind application.
So moved.
On Ray's motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we are on to 30 Ridge Lane. Hey Katie, good evening.
Hello. I just wanted to give you guys,
It'll be the regular board, and if we can share with Connie too.
Yeah. Yes.
Because we're a sherry kind of group.
I think so, yeah. Yes.
Okay. You want to kindly direct staff? When you're ready.
oh, okay. So this is just a revision to some plans that were approved back in April. I apologize, there's a number of things on the revisions list, but most of those are just for the benefit of the HOA, because they're giving us a bit of a hard time. The only three things I believe that are within your purview are the approved fence on the, what is that? Well, on the bottom of the plans there.
South.
Oh, that's the south side, yes. We're just extending it about 9 feet to reach the adjacent structure there on the
East side? Why do I have that down as north?
East.
So between the pool and the existing house on the corner of the lot. So we're just extending that board fence 9 feet to the corner of the house. That was at the request of the HOA. And also extending those red cedars to screen it. The other two things here, let's see. We are adding retaining. So I eliminated, there was originally a swale on the south side of the property there, and we were just going to keep it the existing grade and work the pool into it. Now we're proposing a 6-foot board fence, which is already approved. We want to just add retaining to the inside of that board fence, about 28 inches of timber retaining. So we can bring up the grade. So the pool can be, the lawn can be at grade all the way around the pool. The highest point of that retaining will be 28 inches, and it tapers down to grade on the west way side. And again, it's on the inside of that retaining wall, so it's nothing that's going to be visible from anywhere. That retaining is also going to turn 90 degrees toward the house, and it's also going to taper to grade there. It's going to be the inside of the existing privet. So none of the retaining is going to be visible from anywhere. It'll be hidden by the lawn on the inside and the 6-foot fence on the outside. So from the inside, all you're going to see is about 4 feet of fence. The neighboring properties will see 6 feet of board fence that was already approved.
Okay. Anything else, Katie?
I believe that was it, just the 3 things: retaining, extend fence, and grade change. Yep.
Okay, cool. Who'd like to begin? Oh, Holly? Is there
I don't have
a
any,
Nantucket is kaput?
not, and I didn't have any comments on the original application.
Okay. Any concerns, regular members?
I
Abby?
had some concerns. The visual from the driveway going right back towards the pool, I found concerning. And then just the length of fence was a concern of mine.
It was already approved.
Okay, hold on, Katie. That's relevant, but let's just let Abby finish. Okay.
I
Abby,
thought
go
there
ahead.
was an extension of the fencing.
Yeah, there's a 9-foot extension.
Yeah, between the pool and that existing structure, so it's completely invisible.
Okay, so
It was
some
just
of
for,
it is
like I said,
approved.
it was just for the benefit of the HOA. They requested it.
Okay, some of it's new, some of it, okay. Anything else, Abby?
Oh,
Anyone else? No, do we have
I'm
a
okay.
motion?
I can move to approve this.
Move to approve.
As submitted.
As submitted. On Ray's motion?
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
I'll
opposed?
abstain.
Regular board, yep. So that carries, Abby, for the record, abstains. Okay.
Awesome. Thank
We're on
you.
to 6 Swain Street. Welcome back, Stephen.
Thank you. This is a small addition to the right-hand side of the house, set back from the front, approximately 120 feet from Swain Street. The addition is a very simple, small addition. The owner has 2 autistic children and requires additional bathroom space and some living space. And we've just pushed the addition back to the side into the parking area, and it's set back from the main mass.
Can I recuse from this?
Abby's going to recuse Connie. Are you able to sit? Let's see. Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the record, this is a non-contributing circa 1984 dwelling in Brant Point. There is an HDC survey on file for some reason. This is a simple addition, but one thing is I didn't the plans aren't redlined, and maybe the hard copies are, but the ones online are not. The most prominent is from the visual is south and north respectively. The addition will help with the height of the existing chimney, and I believe the eave could be dropped to reduce the ridge of that gable addition. It does seem higher, and maybe it's just this elevation, but it does seem higher than the main structure itself. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Holly.
Mr. Chairman, I think there's a drawing error there. I'm looking at it, and I can clearly tell there's a drawing error there on the plan. My apologies.
No, that's fine. Okay, I'll check it out. Thanks. Who'd like to begin?
Stephen, we have no concerns.
Mickey, thank you. Any concerns?
I have no concerns. I just want to point out, look at that the thing over the front door. Would we ever approve that now?
No, it probably was done on the slide, done in the middle of the night.
I think I had this, and the only thing was I didn't see actual red bubbles, so I wasn't quite sure, so as opposed to, figured I'd put it in. Okay, so it sounds like I don't need to fish for a motion, if someone would like to make it,
I can.
right?
I move to approve
As submitted?
as submitted.
It'll be Angus, Abby, Val, myself,
Oh, yeah.
I think Connie
Right.
was on this.
and Ray, so the
Yes.
regular board.
Yes.
We'll write that in as a condition.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries. We're on to 10-12.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. 10-12 Davkim. Storage units, window sash color change. It was a new one. I wasn't quite sure why.
Are these all lemon or
You know, my
They vary.
wife picked them out. She spends a lot of time. I'll find out
they're
exactly
really,
where.
really good?
Yeah, she loves doing it.
What was it?
Probably like her.
This is a drawing error, right?
I made the card. That's what I did.
It says lemon, orange, and vanilla.
We'll dig in and see if you get it. Go for the next. Or Matt can start.
They told me to hand deliver them. Actually,
I think there's enough for 2 rounds.
the sugar rush.
Orongo, that must be orange.
Yes. Okay, Matt?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is, we're here before you to ask if we could change the sash color. The original sash color was approved gray, and the owners of the property would like to use black, primarily because it's a more readily available than the gray, believe it or not, for a clad window.
Okay, that sounds plausible.
I have a question.
Val?
What color is the siding?
It's a gray.
As originally approved or proposed?
Originally approved.
And what about the doors and the garage doors?
Uh,
Are those all gonna be black too?
I don't believe those are black. I believe those are gray, like a graphite, if I recall correctly. And those are custom painted.
Any other questions, Val?
No.
Was that a no, or that was a no?
No, I don't have any questions about color.
Okay. Do you have any comments you'd like to share?
Well, the building's already approved, right, Matt?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So no.
No comments on the color?
No comments on the color.
Okay. Anyone have a concern with the colors?
I thought it was harsh, but
Okay.
meaning is.
Anyone else? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the color change.
Okay, let's see, regular board, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I'm gonna abstain on this one.
Thank you very much.
Let's see, we're on to 29 Long Pond fenestration. Is your eye here? Step up to the plate, young man.
Hello.
You're right. This is pretty straightforward, right? You're going from,
Pretty straightforward, but actually we applied for or applying for some, I think 2/2 or something like that windows, but the owner actually changed his mind and they want to go with 6/6 instead of what I'm showing. So I would like to change all the windows to be 6/6.
okay. Does anyone have a concern? What are they now?
2/2?
They are different, like 1/1. I don't remember now what was approved actually. I think it was approved like 2/2.
Some are 2/2, some are not. Okay. So
Yeah.
all 6/6, are
All
there
6/6, yeah.
are there any concerns?
Yeah, I had a concern with
Abby?
this. I think it was on my consent thing, but, so right now it's 2/2 and that makes sense for the opening, but I don't think it easily converts to 6/6 because it makes the panes long and skinny. But correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the feeling I had.
I think it depends on the, right, it depends on the size of the window sash, but if a 2/2 rectangular, taller than wider window is divided into 6/6, then it will still be,
Can I say something?
proportions will be the same.
I,
Right?
I actually reviewed this, and it's 4/4s, folks, not 6/6.
No. He's proposed online here live to go 6/6.
Oh, then my concerns are gone.
I mean, they're back.
No.
No.
Well, the 4/4, if you look at the online version of this, they're very square looking, which is why I didn't consent it. But if it's going to 6/6, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's another thing is that I can't see what.
Okay, fair enough, but we've got 5 members. One's in favor, one is concerned, valid concerns. Do we have any other concerns?
I'm just concerned about the translation, and I would rather see what we're approving ahead of time.
Gotcha. Val?
No, given the location of where it is, and I think they're 1/1s now, I can't tell from the pictures or the plans. Having some grills is a good thing.
Okay, thanks. So my thoughts are, one, primarily they're 2/2, they're taller than they are wide. When they go to 4/4, they become square. When they go to 6/6, they'll become more proportionally correct, taller than wide. So I have no concerns with the 6/6.
I'm gonna make a motion, and the motion is that assuming that the apertures are the same size, because obviously if the window size changes, all bets are off.
Yeah.
But if the aperture stays the same size as shown on the submitted drawings, and they go to 6/6, I would move to approve this. With revised plans, yes, through staff.
That you can read.
So legible with window schedule, 6/6, the aperture size is not changing, is raised motion.
That's
All in
correct.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll oppose.
For the record, Abby is opposed. And that moves us on to
Yeah.
6 Old Westmore Farm.
Coming right up.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening, Robin. You know the drill. I heard a rumor the HCC is no longer reviewing landscape except for things that are visible from the street. Is that true, Mr. Vice Chair?
I haven't heard that rumor yet, but I don't read the current, so.
I'll look into that. Robbie?
Okay, so this is just a hardscape portion to well, a fenestration change basically to the main house. We're redoing the kitchen and some windows, taking out some doors and so forth. And this was included with that as a second application. The building portion went through on consent a couple of weeks ago. So essentially, if we can look at the photographs, the owner would like to expand and reconfigure his existing granite patio in a very similar way. It's just reconfiguring it, adding outside grill area, more of a defined eating area and a fire pit. So I think this should have gone on consent. It definitely is not visible from public way. When you get up to the parking spot of this property on the, which is that sort of defined driveway space, it's at least 10 feet from the grade down to the entry level of the house. There's pretty substantial interior elevation change. So
Okay,
anyway, that's it.
thank you. Concerns?
Yeah, the only reason I didn't put this on consent was just, it seems, perhaps I'm incorrect, that there's a substantial amount of additional hardscape. But I would agree that the visibility of this is going to be slim to none. Sorry, Abby.
Abby?
So my concern was the view up from the driveway. Is there any vegetation we could just obscure that?
It slopes up, Abby, from the street at the Old Westmore designation in the street. You have a garage. It slopes up significantly as the driveway winds around. The second level of the cottage, which is that bay window shaped form up near the red, yes, exactly. That's the second level, and the first level is down at grade.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Can we, if the concern is visibility, we would just make a motion, people are comfortable with, not visible time inspection thereafter.
Yeah, you can't see this at all.
I'm good with that.
You can put it in anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
just, if that's a concern, it'd be the way to kind of
Sure.
short circuit longer discussion that would ultimately result in that being the motion in any event.
Perfect.
Okay, so, any other concerns other than potential visibility? All right, do we have a motion to approve, subject to the condition that, the hardscaping work proposed not be visible at time of inspection or thereafter?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Dale, on your motion,
Aye.
regular board, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. All right,
Thanks, everybody.
thanks, Robbie. We're on to 11 Jonathan Way.
No, 79 Pocomo.
Oh, boy, I just wanted to jump over that
Yeah, you
sports
were going
course.
to get rid of two.
Sorry, Nate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll write it in.
79 Pocomo Road. Chip's in the queue.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me okay?
Good evening, Chip. Are you going to be sharing your screen or?
Yes, I would like to share the screen, please.
We're on 79 Pocomo, number 7, new business of 1112.
Okay, did that come up okay?
Chip, are you ordering new shoes or something? No, I'm
New
just
shoes.
teasing. Yeah, we can see it.
Good evening, Chip Webster on behalf of the applicant for an application for a sports court at 79 Pocomo. The proposed sports court is smaller than a tennis court. It is 46 feet wide and 84 feet long to the outside dimensions. The sports court would include pickleball, a I guess what do you call it, a hoop, and a handball portion on the opposite side. The colors in this rendering are the proposed colors. It's sort of a blue and gray. The fence is a 12-foot metal mesh fence. The location on the site, as you can see in the site plan, is perpendicular to the road, and it's set back about 70 feet from the property line, which would set it back probably about 90 feet from the road itself. So I turn it over to the board for questions and comments. Thank you.
Thanks, Chip. I'm gonna ask for a view on this with some posts. So is there anyone who would be adverse to just moving to a view with posts and hearing this next Tuesday? Not that I want to kick the can, but I need a better understanding. Good? Chip, we're gonna do a view. We're gonna ask for some corner posts to be put up, and it'll be subject to your confirmation that that'll happen, say by Monday or Friday afternoon this week. We'll have it on next week on the beginning part of the agenda.
Wonderful. In advance of that, of your viewing, the site is very cleared out right now, so you'll be able to see the poles pretty clearly, but there are plans for extensive vegetation to obscure it. One of the things that I don't have on here is specifying the type of vegetation, largely because that's not my area of expertise. So if there are plant materials that the board would like to see, we would be delighted to add that in as well.
Okay, thanks, Chip. I'm just gonna ask you, be prepared for maybe submit a plan indicating vegetative screening that is indigenous or similar, planted in a naturalized fashion and of sufficient heights to screen this. I'm not suggesting that's gonna necessarily gonna give you an approval, but I can't think that that would be anything but the absolute minimum.
Wonderful. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Motion, did we do a motion to hold for review? And
I'll make that motion,
more
Mr. Chair.
information and posts on your motion, Val?
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's the regular board. That moves us to 38 Pine Street. We're kicking these sports courts together. I didn't really intend to do that.
Ben, you're up.
Good evening, Ben.
38 Pine.
Timing's impeccable.
Nice job, Ben.
I have a babysitter at home because I'm supposed to be at a holiday party, so me and my wife are here to present at the HCC. Well, we have a babysitter at home. Perfect timing, yeah, all right.
All right. So, Ben, do you want to kindly direct staff through your application?
Sure, so this is 38 Pine Street, the new home of Mike Day and Jessica Gage. Nobody knows who Mike Day is, and they haven't moved a house here in 20 years. They've moved into this house with their family year-round. They're excited to not live in Tom Nevers anymore, but live in town and have their kids walk to school and this and that. They love the old house, but it is quite small, so they're looking to do an addition on the rear of the building, add a 1.5-story addition on the rear. The previous owners had also anticipated an addition like this on the property, and they had gone through the ZBA for relief because there's quite a bit of tight zoning back there. So we are working off of that ZBA allowance for how we're constructing this addition. Not that it's your purview, but that's what we're proposing. So from there, the architectural plan should be relatively straightforward.
Okay, thank you. Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the record, this is a 1 3/4 4-bay circa 1820 within the fish lots. There is an NPT marker, and we're working on an updated HDC survey with our survey efforts. It was for William Hart, who is a blacksmith. So the second floor addition needs to come down off the ridge. The dormers should follow building with Nantucket in mind regarding its placement and the shingle and window sizes. In the space, this can't stop, sorry. This side door should be simpler in nature, in conformance with this vintage of a structure, as it will be seen obliquely from Pine Street. The void of windows on the east, I'm not sure if that is because of the existing L on the rear doesn't have windows, or if that's because of its proximity to the property line, but that addition without fenestration isn't appropriate, and I think it needs at least one window. I think overall the building could have an addition, but I think the L should be more organic in nature. As basically, if you look at the rear, that's what I'm referring to. If it can be more stout, if you will, that would be more appropriate to the structure. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Mickey, do you guys have anything?
A little bit similar to what Holly has just said. Basically, we're looking mostly at the north elevation, which I guess faces Lion Street. That'll be the most visible. It's just that the dormer and the addition feel a little bit out of scale with the building. There's a lot of shingle area, and the windows feel, looks like an original 12/12 style house and they've added these 6/6s on that one elevation. Seems like the windows in the dormer probably want to be more of the pane proportion of a 12/12. And maybe the dormer size get reduced, or add another window, or just something to reduce the shingled area that we're looking at in the addition facing north. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks. Who'd like to begin?
I'm happy to start.
Angus?
My comments are similar to Mickey's and Holly's. If you could go to the north elevation or south elevation. Is that the right? That seems kind of fuzzy.
Yeah, we aren't getting good.
That's the south elevation.
Is there another elevation? Oh, now it's starting to crispen up.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
downloading.
Well, you could start with the floor plan. But what I'm going to point out in elevation is if these windows could more resemble, if not these, at least 12/12, so that it reads a little bit more with the building, but also to bring these in closer to the windows on either side. The whole scale of the house is fairly petite, and I think it's possible to get the dormers in there and get the bedroom in there, but do it in a way that borrows more from the scale of the house. So smaller dormer, windows that more resemble the existing windows. And that's pretty much my issue with it.
Thanks, Angus. Ray?
I'm of two minds with respect to the 6/6s. It's interesting because they definitely changed the scale of the building, but in terms of additions onto historic buildings, I kind of lean towards the philosophy of making a distinction between the original and the new. And one of the ways to do that, of course, is to change the windows. Whether the 6/6 at that size are appropriate, the jury's still out, because they appear to be larger than the 12/12 existing windows on the house, just as a size matter. And I do think the dormers are a little large on either side. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Val.
Well, I think if you look at the historic pictures, it was a 2/2 before it became a 12/12 in 1979. But for me, it's more or less just the pane sizes on the 6/6 make the windows seem bigger. They're probably the same size as the existing 12/12. So I think if those were more akin to what was below, I'm fine with this. And I don't think you're going to see the east side, because if you look at how close the building next to it is.
It's a fire code issue.
Yeah.
Because within 3 feet, you're not allowed.
Fire code on the first floor, but
Okay.
the second floor is further away.
Might be over 3 feet, but it's very close.
Yeah, if you're within 5, you're gonna have a problem.
Within
Fake
5.
window. But that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Val. Abby?
Yeah, I think pulling the dormer on that south and north side off the ridge line would be good. I think the 6/6s do overwhelm, And I think if they were the same size as Ray suggested, I wouldn't mind seeing 3 ganged windows in there. And I wish you could do some more telescoping, but I realize you're sort of confined to what you got there. Well, you could not come out so much on the second floor.
Okay, thank you. Ben, my thoughts are similar. I think you could, I want to look at the north elevation, I think, for purposes of comments. The windows changed over to the existing double hung to the right and below on the main structure, gable facing forward to us. Lower the top plate of the dormer to drop the roof plane. Get at least 6 inches off the ridge, and those are my concerns.
Okay, hold for some, oh, did you want to say something?
Oh, I was just going to make a motion to hold for revisions.
Oh, and the last comment before we vote on that is, any of the detailing, I mean, it looks like some of these windows might be plank frame, the 2 upper. You know, anything you can do to kind of lend that level of detail that isn't like overly sophisticated, but has some character defining, that I think would be helpful.
Yep.
We got a motion to hold for revisions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Ben.
Now we are on 11 Jonathan Way.
Christmas party. He's going back to the Christmas party.
Tis the season.
Good evening, Nate.
We miss you at school.
Oh. Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi.
So we're submitting a new house here, but it's a plan that was drawn by Nathan McMullen and approved by the HDC in 2021, I believe. And this is a house out in Tom Nevers. Just resubmitted the stamp plans. Essentially, there has been no changes to window schedule, no changes to door schedule, no changes to any of the elevations, grade, ridge heights. It's the same plan right there that was approved. And Nathan is retired since then, and so I'm helping the homeowners, who want to move forward with this plan and build the house.
Okay, thanks. Any questions
Yeah.
for Nate? Ray?
So Nate, like, this is, you said 21?
I believe the plans were 2021, and
So, is this a renewal of a previous approval? Like, that's it?
yes,
Are we within the 3 years? No,
I believe we just missed the deadline
you just
by
missed it.
a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay, well, okay, here we go. I remember this application. This was a knockdown, drag out. But by the way, Nate, question number 2, sorry. The red bubbles, are those Nathan's bubbles or yours?
Those were Nathan's bubbles.
Okay, so literally nothing has changed.
No,
Nothing has changed.
nothing.
Okay. Do I like the house? No. But I think it would be unfair just because Nathan's retired, this is in transition. I think it would be unfair to go back and, take this to pieces again. I don't particularly want to do that. I think we're all familiar, most of us are familiar with where it is, et cetera. So I'm actually okay with it.
Okay.
There you go.
Any other comments?
No, motion to approve is submitted.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, I'm going to hold that motion just for a minute. Holly?
thank you. I just wanted to mention if the commission is so inclined to approve, obviously based on the fact that it's a renewal, just if we can have the application reflect the previous COA number. I think if that was on there, this could have been on consent.
Very good point.
Yeah, so, it is. Okay. All right, so we've got a motion to approve as submitted, which is, I think for
purposes of, I would like to suggest this, that, what do I want to suggest? I'd like to suggest that that the red bubbles be whited out.
Yeah.
And then, and it doesn't have to be a resubmission, it just be on the drawings that are there, break out the little whiteout stick and go through these elevations and take the red off, and that will be a condition of the approval. And then it'll just be approve as submitted, subject to the red bubbles being whited out. Because someone's gonna be picking this up and looking at this, and it's just gonna be confusing as hell.
Except that's what was approved.
No, what we're approving is what's proposed. And all I'm saying is take the red bubbles off, because they have no relevance to what's proposed.
Well, because that was a staff approval, so it.
Right, but you're not hearing what I'm saying. We are not recertifying a prior COA where those red bubbles are relevant. We are approving what is proposed. So those red bubbles have no relevance whatsoever. So we simply remove them.
Correct.
That's all. It's a simple, pardon me?
I just hope he does the right one, because then you.
Well, he would just do that. This isn't difficult, folks. We're gonna take the red bubbles off of what is labeled as proposed, and that's it. We're approving the drawings as submitted.
Okay.
Can we get a motion?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, everyone.
I'll write that on there. Okay. 7 Paul Jones Road, Matt? Thank you, Beth.
So if I could, Mr. Chair, while they're
Please.
pulling this up, so this was a pergola that the HTC had previously approved. And during a kind of engineering review or value engineering review, we omitted it, and then now the homeowners want it back. So it is a pergola that you had previously approved, so that's the only thing we're here for tonight.
If we saw that, we would have put it on consent.
Okay, so Val's probably very right there, but why don't we,
Motion to approve is submitted.
thank you, Val.
I don't like it anymore.
Are there any? That is a regular board. No one's recused, and we can keep the red bubbles.
All right.
On Val's motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Matt. 8 Heath Lane. All right. Is it Liza? Good evening, Liza.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Do you want to share your screen, or do you want to kindly direct staff through your presentation?
I think that we can just look at the application as it was submitted. I think that you might just need a little bit of background about why we're here.
Yeah.
So this property was built in 1994, and when the driveway was installed, it was encroaching in the neighboring property. And the neighboring property was bought by the Conservation Foundation in 2000, and subsequently the land bank took it over. And so when my clients went to sell their house in August, the land bank informed my clients that they needed to move the driveway onto their property. So they will not grant an easement or a license for them to use the driveway as it's constructed. So basically, we want to move the driveway and keep it as similar as it is as possible, and just put it onto their property, keep the fence around the perimeter, keep the decorative grasses and the hydro seed, and the fencing, just try to make it look exactly like it does now, but just on their property.
Okay, that seems pretty straightforward. The only question I have before we get started is in the site plan,
the Belgian block apron is drawn, out of scale, which, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay, but the concerning part potentially is that it indicates next to it 45 feet. So I just want to confirm that what's being proposed is not a 45-foot Belgian block apron, but what is actually shown in photo 1.
Okay, so basically what is the driveway currently is it's poured concrete and it has like this stamping pattern in it to make it look like it's like faux blocks. And so since they have to rip up the concrete in order to keep it so that it looks as uniform as possible, we only wanted to use Belgian block because they're going to be keeping some of the concrete there. But they don't want to have like multiple materials and then pouring concrete that like doesn't match what's already there. So they were going to extend it was going to be a Belgian block apron, but I guess I had kind of mislabeled what it actually is. It would be like a Belgian block driveway going into the parking circle.
Okay, so the intention is 2 points then, is to replace what's there with Belgian block from the street to the gate, and then to extend that up towards the house as shown in the site plan?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so it's a Belgian block apron and driveway.
Yes.
And the gate is intended to be as shown in the image?
Yes.
Just relocated?
Exactly. Yes, they're going to keep everything built the way it is and then literally just move it over.
Okay, other than the surfacing of the apron and driveway?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody's clear on that?
No, not
No.
precisely.
Okay, so what is being proposed?
Here's my question.
Yeah.
To your point, the Belgian block is not continuing all the way in.
It is.
It is?
It is.
As scored concrete?
As Belgian block. So this is a 2-part informative. What's there is a pressed concrete and to look like Belgian block being removed, replaced by Belgian block at the apron, extending up to basically the extent shown in the site plan, so that it becomes a driveway of Belgian block with a parking area that's existing concrete up by the house.
Oh, I see. Okay, so there's no shell at all?
No shell.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, and wait one quick
I'm
second.
I'm good.
That was it, okay. Angus?
In photo 1, where it shows the Belgian block apron and the gate closed,
Yeah.
is everything beyond the Belgian block the stamped concrete?
Yes, it is.
Is there a reason that you wouldn't just do that again in the new location?
I think that it's challenging to match what the concrete is now because they're like these large, they almost look like tiles. So having somebody come in and pour concrete, it just makes it a lot more complicated. And I think that it's more cost effective and efficient for them to use the Belgian block. And we thought that it would actually look a lot nicer using the Belgian block.
Thank you for, yeah.
Who'd like to begin?
I have a question or a comment, really. And in the photo 1, it also shows that it looks like the concrete spills out in front of the apron and into the asphalt.
That's all gonna be Belgian block.
That's gonna be eliminated, right?
Belgian block, yeah.
Okay. That was my question.
And I have a question. Liza, do you know what they're gonna use as a fill material between the Belgian block? And it's actually not a question, but it's gonna direct me to a comment, which is, I have an aversion to these light-colored Belgian block, but recently I found that when used with a dark-colored fill or
Okay.
mortar, it tones them down dramatically, even though you wouldn't think it would. You might think it would make the lighter color stand out, but it grounds them in a way that's more attractive. So do they have a preference on what these will be set in?
No, and they're completely open to suggestions from you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now can we address concerns? Members?
No concern.
Abby, no concerns. Angus, no concerns. Val?
No.
Ray?
Nah.
My only concern, Liza, is to the extent they can fill and grout these with a darker material than a lighter material. But I won't make it a condition of a motion. Can I get a motion to approve as
Motion
submitted?
to approve as submitted.
Okay, all in favor of Abby's motion, regular board, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. You're all set, Liza.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Brooke,
Can I sit off a couple?
sure. Connie, you ready? Good. Good evening, Brooke.
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Your board will be for four wee weeder, Angus, Abby, myself, Ray, and Connie. And you know the drill?
I've done it a couple of times.
Couple. It's been a minute,
It has been.
half a minute.
Yeah. The first application, I believe, is for just some minor modifications to the house. This building is at the end of Pochik. On the Pochik side, Wee Weeder and Pochik are parallel. And this building had been approved as a rotation and being moved from the Wee Weeder side over to this side. The client would like to make some minor modifications. There is a condition that, that's kind of tied to this, which we will, I guess, get to in the next application. When this hole was dug, they found some water at a level that was not expected, and so the foundation is up higher, so hence retaining, and therefore we had to add some fencing to this. And anyway, so for this particular application, we're removing a chimney, we're putting a window where a door was, and I think if you scroll down, that may have been it, and maybe some couple of minor details on the rear side. But I would argue that the visibility is somewhat limited just based on the fact that almost nobody ever goes down there.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Brooke? We'll go right to potential concerns. Anyone?
Missed the chimney, but,
Yeah,
might as well not be here.
no, I get it. Anything else, Abby? Okay, anyone? Motion?
Go for it.
Move to approve as submitted.
All in favor of Ray's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously. Grade change with retainage. Pretty self-explanatory.
I believe so, but again, like I started talking about it, but yes, they found water at a higher elevation, and so the top of the foundation wound up being a little bit higher than anticipated. And there are photos of the condition, if you scroll down to the, past the drawings. There, keep going, right there. You can see, especially on the elevation where it says front right corner and front left corner. So I anticipate that we'll have to bring up the
Brooke,
grade a couple of feet.
Brooke, I'm
Yep.
gonna just.
Yep, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm just gonna ask you to hold for a minute, because, I mean, given the location of this relative to the street and so on and so forth, and visibility, well, I guess the front would be visible, right? Pochik? Yeah. Does anyone have any concerns with this?
Is it, just so that I understand it, like, you're just filling?
Yeah, we're filling. It was just an unexpected condition just because of the water table, and this is, I'd like to think this is just a formality that we're going through, but, obviously, in the past, there's been always concerns with retainage, hoping to just kind of taper it as opposed to, hard 3-foot high retaining wall.
Good, okay, and it'll just be the flat stone?
Yes.
Okay. Any concerns, anyone?
Nope.
Motion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
All in favor of Angus' motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks. Right, so now we're on to 1 North Swift Rock. And, good evening, Matt. get some formalities out of the way. Your board will be myself, Angus, Abby, Ray, and Connie for all three applications. And we have a butters.
Yes. So with your permission, Mr. Chair, I'll
Please.
just get into it. So you've recently approved the garage for this property. So this is a pool house, which is indicated on the site plan. You can see that its location, it's like literally as far back from the road as possible. It's a 1.5-story structure. And we've tried to emulate both roof pitches, trim details, window type, color schematics to match the existing house. So if we could look at the elevations, so you can see it's a very simple 1-bedroom structure. Again, windows to match the existing. And relatively simple structure. There is a second floor water view. That's why that second floor deck is where it is. But again, try not to over fenestrate, keep it very simple to match the existing approved structures. I know that the neighbor, the abutting property owner, sent an email, and we've provided some responses to some of her concerns. One of which is that the project is proposed to be done in like 2 phases, and so a lot of the questions revolve around allowable ground cover and how that's going to be allocated. And I would just say that we are not proposing to build a structure or structures that would exceed the allowable ground cover by Nantucket zoning bylaws. I have provided a breakdown that I could provide to the board as we go through the review process. If that's acceptable, I could hand that to you, if that's okay.
I think to dispel the notion, yeah, that's fine. I mean, just so that we're aware, but this ground cover counts. So Matt, you've got a digital version of this?
Yes, I can.
Could you, if
Sure.
you have an email it to Holly, just so it's
Sure.
in there?
Sure.
It's data that indicates square footage.
We've also provided elevations of the other structures on the property with the associated ridge heights. So with that, hopefully the drawings are pretty straightforward, and look forward to comments from the board, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to take comments from abutters, as mentioned previously, to avoid issues, future issues. We need to stick to matters, your comments on being on matters that are relevant to our purview, which are architectural elements, sizing and massing as viewed from the public way. And Holly, I can't see the screen. Can you tell me? Lisa. Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. As we stated last week, we're really concerned about the size of the compound and how many buildings this property is going to have on it. And we're looking for clarification from Matt, through you, of how many buildings are actually being proposed to be on this site. Currently, there are 4 buildings that have been approved by the HDC, the existing house, the new dwelling, the new garage, and a cabana. Now, the cabana is not currently on their plan, and if that's not in the plan anymore, then I think that approval should be reversed so that that doesn't come back on the property. And they also have approval of moving off or demolishing the old garage. When Matt asked directly last week, Matt told the board that there was going to be 3 buildings. But before you tonight, there are 2 additional buildings, a pool house and an art studio, which is the old garage. So that would be a total of 5 or 6, depending upon whether they build the cabana or not. I am concerned about the ground cover. I would appreciate a copy of what Matt has. He basically, the ground cover is 4%, as you guys know, and this lot, that means that you can have 4,567 square feet. But currently with the 5 buildings, not including the cabana, it's at 5,078, which is 4.4%. Basically 511 square feet over, which is the size of the pool house. So that concerns me a lot. I just, this is a neighborhood that has most of the lots on them have 1 residence and a garage that some of them have apartments in. They do not have 5 and 6 buildings on them. I would also ask you to look at this plan of the pool house. I'm not sure what about it is a pool house. It's basically a third dwelling, and it has a bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchen, and a living space. Nothing to do with the pool. That's a third dwelling, which will need to get approval as well. That's my comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Lisa. Lisa, I'm just going to address the ground coverage to put that to bed, if I can. The building permit application process is such that certain documents are required to be submitted and indicating and substantiating ground coverage, and that is reviewed by the zoning enforcement officer. And in a situation, for instance, if someone were to come in and they wanted to have 10 buildings on a lot, and there were existing structures and proposed structures, they would not be allowed to construct 10 buildings if indeed they were going to exceed the ground coverage. They would have to make a determination as to which structures they would be building. So that's not something that is part of our purview, other than the overall character and setting of the site against the backdrop of what's visible from a public way. But I wanted to share that information in case you weren't aware of it. Matt will have submitted the digital version to Holly, and if you want to follow up, Lisa, with her, give her a couple of days, please do so. The pool house, Matt, I don't know, people label things differently, but we're looking at the architectural elements in the context of the overall. And I did want to begin with whoever wants to state their concerns.
I can.
Right.
So, yeah, ground coverage is not our purview, and Stephen, for the reasons that you just said, like, we have a safety net in terms of ground coverage. What we do concern ourselves with here is massing, and I appreciate the sort of comparison between the house, the so-called pool house, which we could also name as the quote second dwelling, and the garage. And I'm not seeing a tremendous amount of hierarchy. The garage, sure, let's say that that's the second dwelling. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Which would, in my mind, mean that the pool house would be a subordinate. You'd have, big house, middle house, little house type thing. And what
Only missing the ball. He's missing a whole building.
Lisa, I'm sorry, we have a procedure.
Sorry.
And
what's she doing?
I'm not sure what it was said,
Okay.
but Ray, continue.
Okay, so the height of the building and the fact that it's within inches of the height of the garage that has already been approved is of concern to me. The other thing that I find interesting, I guess is the word, the garage design is very consistent with the house, which I liked. I appreciated that. But I think that the vocabulary has shifted, where we don't have this sort of wide sweeping roof that we have in both the house and the garage. And I'd love to see that kind of manifest in this third building or fifth building or 12th building, whatever it happens to be. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ray. Let's see, Angus?
Thank you. Ray really took the words out of my mouth. Thank you for articulating that, Ray. The massing and sort of the stepping of this in heights and volumes. It's not any one particular building, but all of them together, if they're too similar in heights, from certain perspectives, this will, instead of appearing as four small structures, might end up looking more like one large structure that has kind of the same height throughout, rather than a stepped sort of approach to the massing. And the rural nature of this area of the island is much simpler in that there's, a fair amount of land around one or two structures, but with more structures there, it has a different feel and impact. So specifically with this building, I would say take the dormer off the ridge a foot, maybe go to a 5 pitch or a 6 pitch. And it makes sense to follow the details a little bit more closely with the other buildings that have been approved. But the main thing is having a graduation of the volume sizes. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Abby?
I agree with that. And I think a streetscape has kind of been established from having the neighborhood organization so that it does look very sparsely laid out for the houses when you look at it, when you look at the locus map. And I would say that I agree wholeheartedly with the Ray's comment about the hierarchy of massing. Like, they're too similar. And specifically, I would not have, first of all, it's 2410, so, I mean, and it is a pool house, so make it a little more subordinate to the other buildings. I would get rid of the flush dormers and make the deep set ones, and somehow make this differentiate between the other buildings more. Thanks.
Thanks, Connie.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add. I agree with what's been said, specifically about the height, the overall height of this compared with the other two buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt, I agree with comments. I would like to see, you're a master at using larger than typical windows and doors to mask in a positive way, massing, but I think it's not successful here. We do need to see a door and window schedule with dimensions versus the door and the window schedule. In particular, with relation to those two comments, I think the first floor needs to go to 6/8 doors, and both floors need to be reduced in height. In addition to the shorterness of making the shorterness element of exercise is more common vocabulary with the main and structure in the garage. Those are my comments. Do we have any questions?
Hope for revisions, maybe?
Matt?
No, I think that's all clear.
All right. On Abby's motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up.
So with your permission, Mr. Chair, I could
Please.
just give a quick introduction. So this is an existing garage that's on the property now. And the goal is, you have approved a move off demo, but because we are phasing the project, the owner has become kind of fond of the structure and has asked us to relocate it. If we could actually go to the site plan, that might be helpful just to get orientation in terms of, you can see the dashed red line indicates where the garage is currently, and we're looking to shift it further south on the property and make some fenestration changes to replace the garage doors. The idea is that's going to be basically a temporary art studio. And so that's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Who'd like to begin? Concerns? I'll note that, and I'm guilty of this too, while we're waiting for someone to step up. We have a deep and abiding penchant for saying, I agree with what's been said, and then telling us what we agree with. And it would be great to get out of here earlier.
Okay.
Ray?
I'll make it quick. I agree with myself, which is to say that I think this is all right. Oh, sorry.
We're gonna take comments from the board, and then we're gonna, which is what we talked about doing at our efficiency and effectiveness meeting.
I don't have any concerns.
No concerns. Abby?
Oh, I wish I had my mind fixed.
Oh, yes. Connie?
No concerns.
Okay. Can you identify a butter?
Lisa.
Lisa? Hi, Lisa, go ahead, please.
I just have a question for the board. At what point is too many structures on a lot that is in a quiet, small, modest residential area? Like, at what point is it too much? It's incredibly frustrating to sit through these meetings and have you change little minute things in certain areas, but not take a look at how many buildings are in this one lot. It's frustrating. I don't, this is right on the property line. They're gonna be taking out a lot of vegetation that exists there. There's no plan to, screen any of these buildings. It just seems like you're allowing this neighborhood to change and it is in your purview. You can see these buildings from the street. And I'm sharing my frustration because I don't understand.
Thanks you, Lisa. I think the answer is two-part. One, it depends. And what I mean by that is it depends on the size of the lot. It depends on the size of the structures. It depends on, when I say the size, I mean both the massing and the volume, the overall volume. I think, points you make about distance from property lines and vegetation are appropriate. We haven't really heard you say much about that. And if you have, I apologize, but what I've been hearing you say repeatedly at the hearings is there's, 5 buildings, there's exceeding the ground coverage. Those are not necessarily elements that we would act on in and of themselves. So here before us this evening, at this point, we have a structure that the board doesn't really have any material concerns about.
It's just frustrating because last week Matt said that this building was not going to exist. That they were going to move it off the property, and it just...
Lisa, we're not having a back and forth dialogue here.
Okay.
It's not appropriate. It's not part of our procedures. In any event, you voiced a frustration. I tried to answer you the best I could. On this particular structure, no concerns have been voiced by the commission. What would the commission like to do?
Oh, I'll move to approve it.
Okay.
As submitted.
On Ray's motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
So that is to relocate an existing structure on the site. 1 North Swift Rock Road, pool revision. Mirka?
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. I can share, but maybe we don't have to if it's, I can share. I can share.
Okay,
I
Mirka's
have it
going
on.
to share.
Thank you.
These pictures.
Hopefully it will. My computer kept freezing.
Okay. So, yeah, perfect. So it's loading. So this application is practically it's a revision to the location. Initially, the pool was approved here. It's the dash line where it is with the spa here. And so since the reorganization of the structures, the potential future building might come in the back. Therefore, we just moved the pool on the side, actually farther from the Hill Point Road and just closer to the vegetated buffer. So that's all. Practically, the material, everything is the same. It's just the location and a little reconfiguration of the hardscape. I guess in addition to add, we did add the spa, which was part of the pool initially. So we just removed it as a freestanding, but that's it. There is no visibility to this.
Okay. Anything else, Mirka?
No.
Okay, we're having some technical difficulties here. How are we on the screen? Because I don't have eyes in the back. Is that?
It's staying there, but.
I'm sharing.
Oh, you're sharing. No, but I'm just saying, is it up there?
Yeah.
It
Okay,
is.
so let's please focus on there, and if you want to see a particular page as we're going, just ask Mirka to go to it. Who would like to begin?
I don't see that there's any, substantive difference between the pool and its prior location and the current location, given its overall location on this lot with respect to Swift Rock. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Let's see, Abby?
Maybe come back to me.
Okay, Angus?
I have nothing to add.
Connie?
I have no concerns.
Abby, while you're processing, America, no changes to the topography?
No, it's pretty flat side as it is, but no.
And no changes relative to, was there a grade change proposed with the, I didn't see anything proposed with the pool house, so we're basically at existing grade.
That's correct, because,
Subject to some plateauing
yeah,
minimal around the
within
pool
6
area.
inches, let's say. It's all set because of the existing structures,
You don't want to
which,
drain it out one end.
yeah,
Okay.
so it's all
Okay, no, I
related.
just wanted to establish that for the record, because grading can be a concern, and it does say, a couple of these say at grade, so.
And we do have a degrading topo here, so you can see it's
Yeah.
pretty leveled.
Abby?
Well, so every time I touch it, it does something. So, first of all, I can't read what the vegetation is around, to screen the pool from like around it. And what does this say?
That's a patio, or sorry, deck at grade.
Great, okay, so every time I went to touch it, it's.
Oh, I'm sorry. We tried, yeah. So everything is at grade.
So that's not screen, that's not like a pergola or something?
No pergola, no structures.
And what are those balls on the other side of it?
That's all planting, just a planting
Okay,
bed.
so that's vegetation.
That's vegetation, exactly.
It's really hard to read this landscaping.
Yeah,
It's
agree.
Light line.
I don't know, it's like lilac colored. But, and then the big puffy things around the whole 15-foot setback is
This is all existing vegetation.
existing,
Yeah.
which is like what, scrub oaks? and-
Scrub oaks, yeah, everything's around like 10 to 12 feet, plus few cedars, few oaks, but yeah. And I
Thank
can,
you for describing that, because
and I can kind of zoom in into this.
Connie, did someone at home have something to add?
Just playing us a little music.
That was
Lighten
nice.
up, lighten the mood
A
here.
little relief. Okay, what would we? Oh, butters, is it Lisa? Lisa,
Yes.
go ahead.
I just have one note. The pool is, this new pool is 56 feet long, where the old pool was 44 feet long. So it is a larger pool, which is not noted. In addition to that, I know this is not your purview, but a concern that I have as a neighbor, their newly approved septic system is right where that pool's gonna be. And the wells and the septics, there's that whole distance thing, and there's not a lot of other place to put their septic on the lots, the way that the lots are laid out. So that's very concerning to me. In addition to that, where they're moving the house, keep in mind that that house is gonna be closer to Eel Point Road. You will definitely see it. Those are my comments, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So, Mirka, so just to be clear, yes, septic and the distance, required distance between the two is not part of our purview. However, the health department does review that.
I'm marking
You don't
up.
need to respond on that.
Yeah.
That's a separate entity. I would like you to address the fact that the pool is now 48 and the spa is separate.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So initially we submitted with the bigger pool because the spa was in it. So we downsized back to 48, which it's slightly a little bit longer than we had initially approved, but it's 48, not 57.
I think what Lisa was referring to, I don't want to put words in her mouth, is she was looking at, the pool went from 44 to 48 and the spa came out of the pool
Yeah.
and that's 8, so it's a total of 56 feet
Oh, I am.
versus 44. Okay, that was the comment that was made, so I want to clarify. Okay, what do we want to do, folks?
Motion to approve is submitted.
Okay, let's see, Angus, on Angus's motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we
Thank
are
you.
on to 14 Moorzon Lane.
Val, aren't you sitting on
Can
my
I-
project?
Can I attempt to, has everyone reviewed this? Has everyone looked at this porch?
Yes.
I think this could have been a consent item,
Yes.
my own self.
No, I wanted to review it so I could sit here all night.
Okay, all right then, you're on.
Ethan, we appreciate your honesty.
My
Angus,
phone
did
battery went dead.
Angus, is it up on the screen behind me?
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, Angus, you had this one. Is there a particular matter that you have a concern with?
God.
That you can recall?
I can't really recall. I pulled this?
Well, you had it to review for consent and you didn't deem it consentable.
It's 8 feet.
I
It's on the floor.
I don't have a concern
Okay.
with it.
Does anyone have a concern with this?
No.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve is submitted.
All in favor, say aye. Regular board.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
78 Pleasant Street. Is Ethan here? Oh, there he
Hello.
is. Good evening.
Good evening.
When you're ready.
Okay, so this is a house that was built in 2015, I believe. It's on the corner of Pleasant and Kimberly Lane, which is a little sort of private lane. And we are proposing to essentially infill the existing first floor porch. It's surrounded by a pretty substantial mature hedge. Visibility is limited, although it is obviously on a corner.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, any questions for Ethan?
No, I had this on my review list, and I think I held it because I had a question about the bank of doors.
Do you want to ask that question now, or?
Wait, I'm trying to pull it up here.
I'm gonna, the doors do face Pleasant Street and there's 6 of them.
That was my concern.
And there's a break in the hedge, so you're gonna see them.
Okay, guys, before we break into concerns, which we're eventually gonna be doing, the board will be speaking first in the future, once we get to written comments, but for now, we're not there. Questions? No questions?
I simply wanted to state why I held it.
Okay, thank you. Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yes, this is an infill dwelling. I got 2005 within the OHD. As Val just mentioned, the triple French doors along Pleasant Street are not appropriate, especially then you add on the 3 triple on the other side, which this is a corner lot technically. If the east is internal with no visibility, I think it's okay, but I would recommend kick panels as a must within the OHD. The existing infill dwelling is sensitive as it exists to the OHD. I think the addition and its fenestration should also be, so looking at how to minimize the amount of glazing that's being proposed. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Holly. Mickey, did you guys have anything?
Yeah, but in a similar vein, those French doors that are facing both Pleasant Street and Kimberly Lane are clearly going to be visible, not just through the opening in the hedge, but through the hedge itself during the winter time. So it's inappropriate due to the wide number of doors and the amount of glazing. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, Val, did you want to?
That was the doors were my concern.
Okay, Ray, you stated yours?
Same.
Okay.
Just add, Ethan, why don't you just render it like a sun porch?
I think we're heading in that direction.
Yeah, I think you are too. Does anyone else want to help that along?
I would make a motion to hold for revisions.
Okay.
All those in
Yeah, I think this is visible enough that some revisions would be, and we're looking for sun porch. Personally, less fenestration in terms of full light doors, some windows in the mix, and you have a good aesthetic. So now you have license to exercise.
There's a solution there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to hold for revisions was made by Angus. All in favor, say aye.
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 Regular board, any opposed, carries unanimously. 2 Green Lane,
Okay, so this, the address is 2 Green Lane, although this is part of a sort of collection of properties that are really on Milk Street. So it's 2 Green Lane, which is sort of this rear structure, and then 9 and 11 Milk Street. They're 3 separate lots, but it's all the same ownership. The house at 9 Milk's the primary, essentially. It's beautifully historically preserved on the inside. It's amazing. Unfortunately, it's keeping it like that and living in it is not super conducive to the owner sort of aging in place. So they'll be moving to this rear structure more on a full-time basis. Consequently, so they want to make some improvements. The main structure that we're proposing most of sort of the work in, if you will, is a historic agricultural structure. Probably, we have 1887 was the best we could come up with for a date. We are proposing to add some glazing essentially, but we are working within the existing frame. We provided a little axon sort of transparent view on a couple of sheets down that just shows how we're really trying to work with the existing frame, match the same window construction, sash style, lights, all that, but get some more natural light. It'll be the sort of the main living space. We're also proposing some minor revisions to the addition to the rear, which was done in the mid to late 90s, which is pretty basic, but we'd imagine you'd probably have most of the comments on the agricultural structure.
thank you. Val, do you have any, before you get to why you did what you did, do you have any questions?
No.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, Val, you had this, do you want to make a comment?
It was simply because of the historic nature of the house. I thought everybody should weigh in on it.
Thank you. Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there's an HDC survey on file for this. And it was originally 9 Milk Street, the circa 1915, but probably older per the Sanborn map, which is included in your application from 1887. It possibly could be even older because of its nature to the typical Nantucket out in front. And the chimney, I think from the application itself, the chimney is a character defining feature and I think it should be kept. Retaining it would, even if it's, do I say faux, would be better than removing it completely and retaining that feature. The proposed south elevation, I'm a little conflicted with. And it may be due to the proposed glazing on that elevation. I know that there's been an application that I think you did, Ethan, a few years back on Main Street, which was like a carriage structure that had that kind of double entry, if you will, with French doors and an existing kind of hayloft access. I think if you can eliminate the amount of glazing on that elevation, it would be successful. The circle window, if it's not historically associated with the structure, I don't believe it's appropriate. But I appreciate the retention of the batten doors and emphasizing those, again, emphasizing the fact that this is a utility structure. And the fenestration should be true divided light, which I think you've indicated on your application, and consistent within the OHD. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Mickey, you guys got anything to add?
Yes, this, it kind of comes down to visibility. There's a very thick hedge on Green Lane. I think it is Green Street or Green Lane. It's kind of minimal visibility. It's a really thick hedge, but Milk Street, I think, is actually more visible. It's more visible from Milk Street, southern elevation. So this is an old barn. Barns really didn't have this kind of fenestration. They had very minimal fenestration, actually. So anything that we feel is visible, and that we do feel it is, should kind of retain the old character defining features, as Holly just said, the chimney and the sort of smaller fenestration. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, who would like to begin?
I can go.
Abby?
Retain the owl chimney, or not.
Do you mind if could I add something about the chimney? It
Why
might be
don't you
pertinent.
just hold just a second?
I'll be real fast. Kick plates and maybe smaller French doors and that's all I have.
Okay, thanks. Ethan?
Yeah, I do want to, I apologize for not mentioning this earlier. The chimney's definitely not original to the structure. It was most likely put in there in the 90s when they did the addition. I can provide photos of what it looks like on the interior, but it's clearly not original and not even old, I would say.
Are you saying that barns typically, hay and barns
And fire
fireplaces
didn't
typically
mix?
don't
Yeah.
mix well? Yeah, I would say that's historically true. Okay, Abby, you went, let's see, who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Dal.
I think he's done a great job, and I really like this approach. I think the only thing that gives me a little pause or concern is those French doors. I'd almost like to see those covered up like you did the other ones, with a door that could slide in front of them or aside them or something. That's it.
Thank you. Let's see, Angus?
So I think about that barn on Liberty Street that,
We're always talking about it.
yeah, I think that that was almost more successful just being plate glass. So that, because with a utilitarian structure like this, you can sort of picture the barn doors to be able to access a workshop or something. But as soon as it's looking more and more like French doors, I think it loses its character. On one hand, I think that the fenestration overwhelms that elevation where they're just two simple windows right now, which is character defining for that part of the structure. And I do believe that this is visible from Milk Street. So, yeah, I'm a little bit torn about that, but it does seem like a lot of fenestration for the character that this structure is right now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Rick.
The round window has to take a hike.
Johnny?
Yeah, thank you. And this is the first time I've ever seen a 28 light French door. It's 28 lights.
Again, we're trying to match the light configuration of the existing windows.
Which I appreciate, but I think something has to happen there. You know, it's a consensus view. There's just too much glass, and I'd like in some way for that to be minimized. That's all I have.
And Ray, just for clarification, you're talking about the French doors on the labeled 01?
Both,
Or
both sets. They're both 28. They're the same.
Yeah, and you're talking about limiting them overall in both locations?
Correct.
So, Ethan, I think you've really done a nice job with this. I do have concern about the French door. I think the circular window is a little too stylistic for this simple structure. And other than, I think the double doors without the sliding doors, not that I'm suggesting adding sliding doors, but on that portion of the structure are really my biggest concern. And,
We hope for a few.
yeah.
Can I ask a quick question?
Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just because you had mentioned that is 11 Milk Street associated with this
Correct.
ownership? Because there's a preservation restriction on that one, the Thomas.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They acquired
Starbucks.
11 later. They historically, their family has always owned this house and 9 like together, and 11 was a later acquisition. So I'm not.
Okay,
aware
I just,
as much.
I know that there's a restriction, I think held by NPT, so I was just curious on the makeup of everything.
But that's on the I mean, just for clarification.
Clarification, that's on, as far as I know, that restriction is only on the Thomas Starbuck house, that's which at 11 Milk Street.
I mean, Ethan, just last before, you've got on your east elevation existing the jog within which the double door French doors are without the barn doors. The original existing has a single door on the side, is there any latitude to maybe bring that French door approach to the side and regain the two windows on the gable where the double French doors are?
I do think the way that, I mean, they'd prefer to have the French doors on that gable end because I think that's going to be connected to a sort of patio. But again, I think there's opportunity for us to make
The
some
only reason I
revisions.
mention it is that if French door is really what they want, it is probably a little less visible than on the gable. With that, I'll say, you've got enough information.
We do, and I'd be more than happy, you know, if anyone wanted to take a view. I agree with Commissioner McLeod. It's certainly, the barn side is certainly going to be somewhat visible from Milk Street, distant, but visible. The 1990s edition, like that gable that we were talking about, the French doors, no visibility. There's a mature hedge that encloses that whole part of the structure.
Okay, all right. Why don't we hold for revisions and why don't we put it on a view?
Thank you.
So a motion to hold for revisions and a view?
Yeah, that was my motion.
Okay, on Abby's motion, regular board, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. That is what we call flipping the page, folks. To page number 5, number 20, 7 Moores End Lane, new dwelling. Carrie, are you still with us?
Yep, this is, I did this a long time ago before my botched surgery, so I can talk about it.
Okay.
Plus, you all have seen it before. Jeremy Trottier, the homeowner of this one, saw what I did for Randy Sharp down the road. It's not built yet, but he saw the plans and he said, I want that house. So
Nice.
this is from 59 Pulpus, which was approved a couple of months ago. And now we are at the end circle. That's the property. The existing house was approved to be moved or demoed, depending on if the move doesn't go through. And it's at the end of Moore's End Circle where you just saw Ethan's project. It's sort of across the street. And there it is. The pool and garage have not been applied for yet, but I will be doing that at some point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Let's
you.
see.
Do you want to know why I did put it
Yeah.
on consent?
Yep.
Because I didn't know if there was a move off or a demo of the house that was existing, so she just answered that.
Okay. Does anyone have any concerns? No. Does anyone have a motion?
Motion to approve is submitted.
Okay, regular board, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries unanimously. That moves us to 14 Ellen's Way.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Hi, Sana.
Hi.
Raised garage roof.
My garage roof?
Yeah.
You doing something?
Raise.
Oh, raise.
Raise.
Oh, okay.
You are a dad, so I suppose you can make those jokes.
So pretty straightforward, just raising the roof 3 feet. There's no change, ground cover or anything like that. And I did take photos of about 90% of the neighborhood that has very tall garage structures that are on the street as well, so that's
Okay,
it.
thank you.
All right.
Let's see, Val.
The only reason I put this on for other opinions is the proportions. It just seems much more vertical than the rest of them, just simply probably because of the size of what's there. So I wanted somebody else to weigh in.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Is there a date on this?
It's not old.
It's not all.
I saw it on the application. It's like
And I didn't
Is it
know
what?
what the house
80s,
looked like.
90s. It's built
Yeah, it's even earlier. I mean, later.
Later,
It's
yeah.
like 2000.
More recent.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, more.
I think
It's a
next to the
younger
house would
vintage.
be
Yeah.
helpful.
2014.
No.
Okay. You've got genes older than this structure.
I know.
We probably all do. Let's see. Okay, who wants to go?
Well, so I had one more comment.
Yeah?
If I saw the house next to the existing garage, I might be able to visualize it better
Okay.
in proportion. So that would help,
Okay.
and maybe mitigate anybody's concerns, but those were the reasons. It, in and of itself, it's, I think, fine. It's just the proportion.
Anyone else?
Um,
Angus?
Sure. So I think it's helpful to have all these other images, and I think they demonstrate the point that Val brings up, is that the height may be meeting all these other pictures, but it's the width that makes it feel too vertical in proportion. So I share that
So
concern.
I do have pictures of the house, if you want to look, of the house that's attached to it.
I think it's mostly the proportion.
Yeah,
That's so sad.
yeah,
Yeah, it's, you're kind of making the point, though.
right.
Yeah, no, I just wanted you to
Thank you.
see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, are we going around the table, or are we?
No, because Angus went, Val went, Ray went, I think you're next.
Okay, okay. All right. So, you know, the original proportions are so good, it's hard to see it get so vertical. So I'm stuck. That's why-
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Sandra, I had two comments. One, this looks a lot like 11 Ellen's Way. Do you have a picture of that one in there? Oh, yeah, okay, I see it. It's under the new
Yes.
south elevation. But that image kind of underscores that the height of the second floor here is too tall. The other thing that it helps to underscore is that the gable mass shown in the west, in the east elevations,
Yep.
is too tall relative, one of the gable masses is too tall, and I would put forth that it's the one facing the north that's visible from the west and the east.
Yes.
And also there's a drafting error, no big deal, but your ridges in the west elevations line up where in the north they don't. So the takeaway for me, for you, is the second floor height needs to decrease, and I think the top plate height of one of either, I would suggest the north elevation gable also needs to decrease further,
Okay.
and allowing that mass, including the roof mass, to come down off of the ridge, the east-west ridge. Those are my comments. I think it's safe to say we want to hold for revisions.
Yes, so moved.
And on Ray's motion, regular board, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay. If we get to 31, we can go home.
Is that right?
No.
We've covered more than our quota if we get to 31. I don't want to jinx this, I'm just saying. Okay, 35 Pleasant Street.
I have a procedural question before we technically open it. We fast-tracked this. The homeowner insurance was not going to give them a full policy until we got something into HCC to show that we're kind of moving the project forward. They have to redo their roof. We've got some revisions that we'd like to make to change this design since we submitted a couple weeks ago. Could we hold this and go to new business with the revisions, or should we keep it new business and not open it? I didn't want to do sort of the drawing swap situation.
You can hold it, revise it, and you'd be in the meeting you submitted for by the deadline.
But it would still be new business, though, not old business.
It would still be new business.
Okay, because they have it, now we have a year, they give them a year to
Okay.
rectify the situation, so we've got time, but. Well, since we're doing other work, we wanted to kind of get something in, but.
Well, okay, let's back up. So this is an addition, how many square feet is it?
It's over 100 square feet, the addition. Are you talking about for
But
butter
so
notifications?
I don't have the application open in front of me. What's the,
It's
there's
the
two
first
options.
floor.
You can either put in for new, or you can revise it and still keep it as a new application later
Okay,
and withdraw this. Or you can use the current position, not the position, but the COA number you have as a placeholder
submit revisions under that, it'll
Okay.
still be new business.
Yeah, let's do that then. So, yeah,
Um,
we'll just hold it, yeah.
so we're
We'll
gonna
submit
hold it
revisions.
for tonight.
Off everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Because it's not getting bigger.
Correct, yeah, no, we're just,
okay. That brings us
Thank
to
you.
2 Hussey Street. And closer to our goal of number 31. Matt?
Scott?
Oh, we're getting closer and closer.
Can I,
Right?
Holly,
Because I just drove by this.
did you have comments on this one?
I did.
Well, you guys, we don't have, hold on a second, we don't have a representative, so.
Well, we don't, but I'm curious. I mean, do you guys know what it is?
I did not preview
Yeah, I
it.
just drove by it the other, I walked by it the other day.
We made
It's an old
them
garage.
during this renovation, keep this wall clapboard. And
it's
it's
shingle.
changed to shingle. And
Okay, let me, hold on a second. Does anyone have a concern with opening this?
No.
It sounds like the direction is that it's shingled and it looks appropriate. So why don't we open it? So we're opening it. Holly?
Watch this, Holly's gonna lambaste
Yeah,
it.
it's just gonna be like, what the hell's wrong with you people?
Completely inappropriate.
Well, here, if you wanna see it.
No, it looks great.
It's Scott's house.
Just walk by it.
Yeah.
I feel
It's an old garage.
So
Alright,
Holly,
shut
do you wanna tell us what we're doing wrong? In your opinion?
I think you had it right the first time.
Okay.
You all scrutinized changes to the structure. For a second floor, I think it was a closed-in, sleeping porch, if you will. And you all basically made the motion for the material to retain that clapboard. This used to be originally a garage, a car garage, old, turn of the century. And then it was converted into a dwelling sometime after that. And now the application is to change it to shingle. I think it would be remiss in changing a character feature of the structure to change it to shingle like everything else. And granted, it would be white cedar shingle, but at the end of the day, the clapboard would have helped it.
Okay, thank you, Holly. Mickey, did you guys have anything to add that's different?
No, we had no concerns with this one.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we're gonna poll the members. Angus?
Here.
I appreciate Holly's opinion. I mean, everything else is shingled, so it fits in, but because it's a newer addition, the clapboard would, have it stand apart, so I don't know. I see both sides. I'm sure that's really helpful for someone else to agree with.
Yes, thank you for that. Let's
There are
see,
lots of
Val.
options to agree.
I remember the discourse on this, though, was quite extensive. Holly, you didn't happen to have a picture of that little, what it looked like? I didn't have a chance to look it up. But honestly, I do think it looks appropriate the way it is as well, but I just remember we spent a lot of time on that.
Okay, Abby?
I agree. I think the mistake is appropriate. I think if we had gone to the clapboard, new clapboard might have been just like a anomaly to this. It might make it actually look too modern. This way it just sits quietly. So I'm okay with the mistake
Okay.
or the, what's it called, as-built.
Okay, I've got nothing to add. The $10,000 fine can go to OUCH, which is the Old Underappreciated Characteristics Helping Fund. What do we want to do?
Well, I think at the very least, he should pay the fine.
The as-built fee?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's an as-built condition, so. Do we have a motion?
Motion to, I don't know, how do you say that? Just accept the
Approve with
as-built.
Approve subject to as-built fee.
Yeah.
Is what I'd suggest.
That's
That's
good.
Abby's motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
to Wanncomet Road fence.
You want to comment?
This was, I know he's not here, extensive fence. Extensive,
Then I don't think we should open it.
no,
Yeah.
We should hold for rep.
yeah.
Okay. Let's go to a less extensive topic.
He's here, actually. in his-
Oh,
Oh, Steve?
It's like really,
Do you think 420 feet's extensive?
yeah,
Anything over 100?
wow.
on the street.
Steve, are you there?
I am here.
Or are you feigning you're not here so you can wait until next time
No, I'm
when
here,
the
guys.
extensiveness is worn off?
I'm right here with you guys.
Okay, great. Why don't you go ahead and present?
Sure. The fence is along the buffer zone in front of Nantucket Road to tie into a portion of the existing fence that's on the left-hand side of the property. The fence is screened in the natural vegetation, and it runs, a small section runs from the previously approved shed to the corner of the house to screen the pool that was also approved. But yeah, all of this is in the natural vegetation, and you're not going to see it from the Nantucket Road because it's headed off the road. And as you drive up to Wanncomet, you can't see the house from Nantucket Road due to the 60 feet of buffer of trees that are there.
Yeah, Steve, so the concern that Val's pointing to is the fence is along what's labeled as Nantucket Road.
Correct.
And the visibility of that fence is the concern.
It's zero in the vegetation.
Is the vegetation on the Nantucket side of the fence?
Yes, there's photographs that I believe I submitted, but it's densely populated, densely screened. There it is. Go back to the GIS for a second, please. Yeah, that's all natural vegetation all the way up from Nantucket Road to the house.
I don't see it.
I don't either.
Okay, hold on, please. Don't let our emotions take over. Steve, we're looking at the site plan.
Yeah, if you zoom into the GIS.
Hold on a minute. Even at a close-up, the vegetation along Nantucket Road does not appear, including the turnoff area to the left of the first Nantucket, towards the right-hand lower corner, there's a mud turnoff there. It does not appear that this is this significant buffer that you're thinking it is.
Okay. Scroll down, please, to the photographs of the house. Keep going.
And none of it shows any screening.
You see that, well, it's kind of hard to see to the left-hand side there. You see the dense vegetation beyond that porch on the left-hand
Yeah,
side?
no, Steve, we're not talking about the fence at the house, we're talking about the fence along Nantucket Road.
No, I understand, but that's fine. Go ahead, continue.
Well, no, I think the concern is the fence along Nantucket Road.
I get it.
So,
Why don't you hold for a view?
I don't know that that's gonna make a difference.
I think you're wasting time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your
Never
own
mind
time,
then.
that is, Stephen.
Okay, thank you.
What do you think about, well, let me just get a clarity here. Are you suggesting that the image on the screen, can we go back to the image of with the vegetation? No, the site plan aerial. Oh, there you go. Oh, back down the image, yeah. Steve, are you suggesting that the image shown on the screen currently is outdated?
I just think the vegetation along the Nantucket Road is taller than it looks in the GIS, that's all.
Okay, let me ask that differently. Are you suggesting that the vegetation shown along Nantucket Road is sufficient to eliminate visibility or significantly limit visibility of the fence that's proposed?
I believe it does, yes.
Okay, well then let's take a view on that, because then it's different than what's shown in this image.
And it's proposed, like, there's no depth from the road. It's 15 to the inside property setback, but this is like 3 feet or 5 feet from the road.
Okay.
And it's an anomaly, I can't say that word, I'm trying another
You just did.
one. But we don't have fences along that amount of fence on Nantucket Road, anywhere.
Yeah,
And we do have a few places where they have done our favorite Leyland cypress, which looks so out of place.
Well, then it gets
well,
eaten.
interestingly enough, if you zoom out a little bit on that image, oh, a little bit. Zoom in a little bit more. On the left, that's an example of a house that has both the Leyland cypress and fence, but it's not as long as this.
No, and
it-
it's eaten underneath.
Yeah, and
so you do see the
it's a
fence.
good example of why it's not successful.
Uh,
I
Mr.
think that
Mr. Chair-
in the interest, Steve, in the interest of having an accurate visual, we're gonna do a view on this.
Well, may I make a suggestion?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why don't we hold the fence for along the Matticat Road for a future application, and just go with the fence that's from the cabana to the corner of the house?
Okay, was that your plan all along?
No,
Okay, I'm just asking. And what's the length of the fence along the house, roughly?
probably about 40 feet.
Hmm.
There's a large scale plan of that.
Right. Okay. That is buffered somewhat by vegetation, and it is not the front of the house, although it is along the Wanncomet. Does anyone have any concerns with that? 5-in-1 fence?
I think you'll see it, but they can screen it with something.
Okay, well, it would be subject to a binding plan on alternating sections.
It's right here, it'll be right here.
Yeah.
And are we okay with the diagonal fence versus Steve, is this matching something somewhere?
There's a fence on the existing fence on the back side of the property, but he's looking for screening for his dogs and his children, that's all.
Okay.
We're going for a view for the Nantucket Road, can't we just put
He's-
this on and?
I think he's withdrawing that.
He's withdrawing that.
Oh.
So now we're looking at the 5-in-1 fence along the rear side yard. And with that, are there any concerns?
I'm happy to make a motion to hold for review, because
Okay.
I think we'd need to see examples of it fitting in. It seems out of character, because it's basically a board fence facing the street. It may be the side of the house, but it's facing the street. And my concern is that it just,
I don't have an issue with that, Steve. We're gonna do a view. I think we're gonna find that there's ample screening, but let's do the view.
Okay,
Actually, I'm thinking that we're not. We're gonna find there isn't ample screening looking at this image, there should be, it's on the left, but, so we got a motion to hold for review, and why don't we leave the
let's leave
Matticat
it all
fence
together, yep,
on the table?
thank you.
Okay, on Angus's motion, regular board, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, hey, Stephen, is that Stephen Cohen, our Stephen Cohen local?
Yes, Mr. Cohen, the attorney, yes.
Okay, I've
It's
never
not
met
his, it's not his property, but it's the trust.
No,
that
no,
owns
the
that.
reason I asked is it's spelled with a PH like the saints that we are, and I've never met a Stephen Cohen with a PH. Okay, fair enough, thank you.
One last question for clarification. You will not be going past 31 tonight?
I think we're gonna get to 31 and call it a night.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Unless,
God bless you, Stephen.
oh,
with
Linda's,
a PH.
yeah.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Yeah, we've made a lot of ground tonight,
Good.
and we've got Christmas presents to start wrapping.
Thank you. Have a good night.
23R Clifton Street, dormer desk,
Adam Davis.
just seeing if anyone's awake.
Raised hand.
Have a hand raised.
Adam? Adam?
I was confused by the picture versus the. Agreed, and then the pool.
Hi, Adam Davis here.
Hi, Adam, good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, what would you like me to go ahead with the description?
Yeah, are you gonna use the submission through staff? Are you-
Yep, submission through
okay.
staff works great.
Okay, so just kindly direct through the presentation as you go.
Sure, staying right here, this is the site plan. And basically the project is we're taking the garage slash cabana as it is and looking to modify the cabana portion by making the covered area a little bit larger. It would still be just an open area, place for to sit outside by the pool, and revising the dormer that sits over that to be an open porch for the second floor. So there's no additional ground cover. There's no additional interior square footage. It's simply taking off the gable on that west side and replacing it with this balcony and larger cabana structure. Also just worth noting, if you see the GIS map at the lower left corner, this property is on Clifton Street, but it's way in the back against Sankaty Golf Course. It's not visible from any public way. It's quite well hidden, and this structure isn't all that large. If you scroll down to the bottom of the PDF, you can see an existing picture of what the structure looks like now. And then if you scroll back up a page, that shows the elevations.
Okay, so just to clarify conceptually, with respect to the image and what's proposed, you're sliding that gable that is over the patio back into the main structure, and you're creating a covered porch with a second floor deck in the location where the gable is now.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is the existing drawing that we're looking at now. If you scroll down to the next page, that's the proposed. Or sorry, here's plan. Yep, and now keep going. And that's the proposed.
Yeah. Is everybody clear on what's happening?
Now we are.
Okay.
Yep, and if you go down one more image, there's a photograph of the property. So that's the gable that's being revised.
Okay. Okay, great. Let's see, Sconset, do anything from Rob? We're burning minutes.
Rob
folks.
actually had no concerns on this application.
No concerns? Okay.
I have a
He just said
question.
interesting, but way out of view.
Way out of view. Let's see, Angus?
I just have a question before I comment, and that is that railed area. So that wouldn't be a legal railing. What would fill the gaps to bring it in compliance?
Yep, we use plexiglass on the back side of the crossbucks, and that matches the detail that's on the main house.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Why don't we just go into comments? Short declarative statements, please.
I share Rob's lack of concern.
Okay, Val?
I
Mike's off.
have nothing.
Okay. Angus?
It's not visible, I don't believe, from any public way. I mean, there's probably going to be people on the golf course saying, how did that happen? But, yeah.
Okay.
It is well screened from the golf course as well.
Okay. So, yeah, I agree with the other comments in terms of visibility. I'll trust Rob on that. What do we want to do?
Oh, by the way,
Val?
I'm not in favor of it, so.
Abby's not in favor, sorry.
I would move to approve this as submitted.
Regular board, raise motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose.
One.
For the record, one me being Abby is opposed. 3 Reeds Way, hardscape pool. Linda Feeney Williams. Please come to the mic.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. This is the lightning round.
Oh, good.
In-ground pool with auto cover rebuilt.
Should have been on consent.
I did include the walls in the application, but they are like-kind replacement. And you got a billion pictures in here.
Pictures.
Don't tell me you
Guys,
don't.
Let's maintain decorum to the very end. Strong finish, please.
You know how many pictures I put in here. They're down further on this application.
Anything else you want to add, Linda?
The pool is up on the upper deck. There it is, right there. Turn around. The pool is on the upper deck in front of the house, but to the left. Pool equipment is on the east side of the house. You won't be able to see it. There's a substantial amount of vegetation there between the two houses. I think I have a better picture of the vegetation, probably in the next couple of pictures. But it's up on the upper deck. You can't see it.
Okay. You won't be see people parading around in their towels?
No, they don't want to see you either.
Okay. Connie, did you still have any concerns?
No, I was just concerned about it was on the, kind of on the front of the house plus the slope, but I think
Those are valid, but if they're addressed, then that's okay too. Okay. Are there any concerns?
How did this ever get filmed?
Yeah, who approved that original stuff? What do we want to do, folks? Don't everyone-
Motion to approve as submitted with the
provision.
caveat cannot be seen.
At the time of inspection, yep. And in perpetuity.
Yeah, and there forevermore and thereafter. Okay, that's a good fairy tale. On Dale's motion, all in favor of regular board, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll be
There's, Abby's a no for the record. I appreciate your consistency.
Thank you.
Wanncomet Lane, your aye?
This was confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
I'm here.
All right, you're right. We're gonna try and make this, ask you to make this as simple as possible. And your board is gonna be Angus, Connie, Val, me, and Ray.
So I guess to make it as simple as possible, there are two applications which each is for move off or demo of the existing garage and existing cabana.
Okay, why don't we look at the shed first, which is up, and it's the hipped roof structure at the west corner of the property.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any concerns with this?
The move off?
The demo of a shed. You said demo.
He said demo move off, I thought.
Okay.
No concerns. Motion to approve
Okay.
the demo move off of the shed.
Does anyone have any concerns? Okay. On Val's motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We're gonna skip to the other demo move, which
Yeah,
is
there
number
is.
29, which is a cabana.
And I'll make the same motion for this. Motion to approve the demo move off of the cabana.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to check. Okay, any concerns with that motion? On Val's motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries. Again, the board for our minutes makers for all of these Wanncomet Lane is Angus, Connie, Val, myself, and Ray. We're on to a new shed.
Yeah, there is a new shed which is in slightly different location, and it's 200 square feet shed.
Okay. New shed with garage doors.
Yeah,
Okay. So it's a garage shed.
garage shed.
Okay, I'm just making sure I understand. Any
Yeah.
concerns?
Yeah, I got confused because of the building next to it. I couldn't figure out where that was on the site, and then it occurred to me, it's not on the site yet. So I think that's why I got confused.
Yeah, that's the next application
I know.
for
But
new
it wasn't.
cabana.
Okay, are you clear now?
I'm clear now, and the basic little building he's proposing is fine.
Okay, does there anyone have a concern with the basic little building that he's proposing?
No, sir.
No.
Do we have a motion
Motion to approve the basic little building
that he's
he's
proposing?
proposing.
Excellent. On Val's motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Now we're on to the new cabana. Let's see. I think this is self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Comments, concerns?
My concern is the proportion of what's facing the road, and you will see that next to the little building. It just, there's a disconnect there for me. I can't tell how tall it is because it's a blurry picture, but I think for me, that needs to be rethought.
Okay, so to say it differently, if I may, sheet A.101, the perspective drawing shows Val's concern with the smaller structure in the distance. Right?
Yeah, I was looking at the elevation.
No, but I'm just saying, it's a comparison of the sides together, it's right there.
Yeah.
Okay. It also doesn't show the pergola in a very flattering light, but
And the eve facing.
you're gonna need a new perspective drawing picker, you're right. Okay, let's see, Ray, concerns,
I have the same. Can't we pare that back?
height-wise?
Depth-wise. Although, you know.
Like
I'm
19
going
feet
off
tall.
of I'm going off of the perspective.
Yeah.
It looks to be almost a square, but the perspective would certainly lead you not to believe that.
You're speaking about the pergola?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I thought I wasn't.
No, I wasn't sure when you said you have the same, if you were talking about the pergola comment I made, or if you were talking about Val's concern about the respective heights of the two structures.
Less concerned about that.
Let's see, Angus?
The proportions seem too vertical for how wide it is. I don't know if it can come down or, I don't know, looking at the north elevation, I know that's not probably what you're gonna see, but just the perspective from the street of something that's kind of square and tall, proportionally, it feels like it wants to come down or get wider somehow.
I agree with that.
Okay, thank you, Angus. Connie?
I have the same concerns that's been stated.
Okay. You're right, so it's interesting, right? You got the dormers, you're trying to keep the structure low. What is the height, and why can't we actually read the height in these drawings?
Yeah, I don't know why, but the height is 19 feet.
Okay,
The
so
ridge.
you've mastered being able to print stuff that's blurry. I'd like to see if you can master being able to print stuff that we can see.
Yeah, unfortunately,
just-
that's not me who printed it. That's why.
Pardon me?
It's not me who printed that, so that's why it's blurry. Next time I'll submit it, it will be sharp.
Yeah, that'd be really helpful, because it'll help answer questions in advance and we can move past this stuff for you. So my comment was gonna be that looking at the elevations with the dormers, you've kept the ridge of the structure low, I think appropriately, but it's created this abnormality with respect to the meeting rails of the windows being able to meet the top plate of the eave. And that is really kind of atypical. So we're gonna need to see revisions. And Val has registered a concern about the disparity in the heights between the two structures. I don't know what you can do to address that, if there's a connector or something, but we're gonna leave it to you to come up with some solutions, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, great. So get a motion to hold for revisions.
So moved.
Okay.
you.
On Angus's motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously. That brings us to our last candidate of the evening, 29 Tomahawk. Fenestration and stair change. Linda?
It's just putting a sheathing on the outside of the stair. You already approved. You already approved the stair, and he's just putting metal on the outside of it to protect it. It's weird. The whole building's weird.
Yeah, it is. I was actually out there. The whole building is very odd.
Yeah, and this is on the back side of the building, so it's a visual, I gave you all the
This
photos.
butts the airport chain link fence, right?
Yeah, but it's below grade, if you remember, half of
Yeah,
it's below grade.
Yep, it's set.
So all you see is the very top, and you can't see it from the street, from Tomahawk. It's
Okay.
1,000 feet away from the runway.
I'm just gonna say I was there. I viewed it from the backside, and sometimes the backside's not very pretty. It certainly isn't, but it's not really visible.
And it's the same material as the metal building itself, standing seam anyway.
No. Okay. Does anyone have any concerns?
I do.
Go ahead.
I think that the windows, the Greek Revival style of this building should really have 6/6 windows instead of 1/1s.
I think the horse left the barn.
Linda, can you do something about that for us?
Pitch of the roof.
No.
Well, most
were
of
on
them
the
in there
show,
are
or
low
do that
pitch. It's really a strange place, very strange place. The pit is a very strange place.
Yeah.
This would be, if it was any shallower, it would be a reverse valley.
Yeah.
Motion to approve is submitted.
Okay, this is gonna be Angus, Val, Connie, Ray, and myself. All in favor of Val's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank you.
opposed? That carries.
While I'm standing here, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I emailed you earlier about a problem we have with 44 Skyline.
We
Should have
already
been.
talked to them.
44 Skyline's on the agenda for next week at the beginning of the meeting. All
Because
right?
otherwise it's gonna get demoed. I gotta move it before the 31st of
Yep,
December.
we're gonna talk, we're gonna get it all reviewed.
We already approved it.
We approved the move off.
All right, hey, guys, hey.
Good, I just
don't
wanna
mean
make sure
be
it's on
short,
next
but I
week
want to
on
be
that.
on, I want a motion to adjourn by 8 o'clock. Do we have minutes coming up soon? Okay, just checking in because we're really doing great with that. I wanted to make sure. Okay.
20 seconds
Can I
left.
get John McLaughlin at 8, before 8 PM?
Motion to adjourn.
On Ray John's
No,
motion?
no, that was Angus's.
Angus
motion.
John's
Angus
motion.
John's motion.
Aye.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? 7:59.